Chapter 310. What's going on with that stone house? Ao Feng and the other two were shocked. Their minds were in a mess. In their eyes, the stone house was like a passage to hell, and one after another, 9th-level demons came out from it. Even though Ao Feng and the other two couldn't figure it out, they knew that the situation was hopeless. Ao Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. He glared at Lan Feng and said angrily, "Lan Feng, your strength far surpasses ours. If you want to kill us, then kill us. But at this time, why are you still threatening us with the spirit beasts of the Atlas? With your strength, you should be able to open the second layer of the Atlas. Instead of sending out Demon King-level spirit beasts, you sent out 9th-level spirit beasts. Are you trying to humiliate us?" When Ao Feng and the others were in Inai Yang's realm, they only saw Lan Feng snatching the Atlas. At this moment, they still thought that these spirit beasts were released by Lan Feng. Qin Yu smiled indifferently. Pitiful, pitiful. Qin Yu's long sigh resounded through the entire area. Even when they die, they don't know who killed them. Isn't this pitiful? Qin Yu, what are you so arrogant for? Relying on your martial uncle Feng, you still dare to be so arrogant. Du Zhongjun shouted. At this time, Du Zhongjun and the other two already knew that they were going to die, so they naturally became hysterical. Qin Yu smiled. Until now, you still don't know. Qin Yu sighed. But at this time, I can't let you live. Before you die, I will give you a hint. If you understand, then you understand. If you don't, then die in confusion. Hint. Ao Feng and the other two were startled. Greetings, Master. Shua Yan and the other 9th-level demons bowed respectfully, their voices resounding through the sky. This large group of demons respectfully bowed in the direction of Qin Yu. Obviously, this master was Qin Yu. Master? Ao Feng and the other two stared blankly at Qin Yu. It was as if their brains were struck by lightning. AI, pitiful people, until now you still don't understand? Qin Yu lightly smiled. Lan Feng, you can start now. Remember to leave behind their yuanying. I'm going to use their yuanying for my cultivation. At this moment, Ao Feng and the other two who had just woken up saw a martial nephew speaking to a martial uncle in a commanding tone. Ao Feng and the other two instantly became confused. Lan Feng nodded, and 3 extremely condensed sword chi suddenly appeared. Ah! Ao Feng and the other two were startled awake. But how could they dodge the attack of a level 9 golden immortal? Swish! That sound rang out almost at the same time, followed by the sound of people falling to the ground. 3 strands of sword chi suddenly appeared, and Ao Feng, Du Zhongjun, and Hua Yin fell to the ground with their eyes wide open. Just a moment ago, the 3 people's souls had already been pierced through. Lan Feng's speed was so fast that Ao Feng and the other two had no time to dodge. 3 level 1 golden immortal yuanying. With a wave of his hand, Qin Yu caught the 3 yuanying. These 3 yuanying had the appearance of Du Zhongjun, Hua Yan and Ao Feng, but they no longer had the slightest bit of intelligence. Obviously, their souls had already dissipated. You brought me to Yellowstone Star, and let me experience the vastness of the universe. I also let you live for half a month, which can be considered as not letting you down. When you treated my family like that, you were already sentenced to death. With a faint smile, he casually threw the 3 yuanying directly into the blazing profound ring. Ah, in the entire Yellowstone Star, I am the only one left. Qin Yu looked in all directions, at the vast expanse of Yellowstone. He then raised his head to look at the boundless universe, at the enormous celestial bodies that made one's heart uncontrollably expand. This maze formation is well constructed. Qin Yu carefully looked at the enormous maze formation. He was not in a hurry to break this maze formation. This maze formation had many foundations, and breaking it from the inside was much easier, especially when he had the sword immortal puppet. With the strength of a level 9 golden immortal, he could easily break it, but he could not afford to play the trick of breaking it. This was because the sword immortal puppet in his hands required the supply of top-grade elemental spirit stones. Therefore, he could only use the simplest method to break the foundations one by one. However, I am not in a hurry to break this maze formation. My stellar transformations technique has already reached the star stage, and in the future, I will need to comprehend it on my own in order to break through and ascend to the immortal, devil, and demon realm. Unfortunately, without any prior experience, I can only go into seclusion and bitterly train. Qin Yu's heart moved, and the sword immortal puppet directly merged into his body. I will bitterly train on Yellowstone Star. Yellowstone Star's sky is empty, and when I raise my head, I can see countless celestial bodies, which is also very beneficial to my mental state. Moreover, with the protection of the maze formation around me, I can rest assured. Qin Yu immediately sat cross-legged beside the stone house. Shuoyan, listen to my orders. Qin Yu's indifferent voice sounded. Shuoyan immediately bowed. I will be wholeheartedly training in seclusion. Choose 3 people to be my protectors. Ordinary dangers will not be able to enter the maze formation. But if there is any danger that even the maze formation cannot block, you must wake me up. Qin Yu ordered. Yes. Shuoyan immediately ordered the 3 people, and the other spirit beasts bowed and returned to the atlas one by one. The atlas of 10,000 beasts was like a home to these spirit beasts, so they did not need Qin Yu's help to enter the atlas. 2 men and 2 women, a total of 4 protectors sat around Qin Yu and began to quietly guard him. They also understood that with the protection of the maze formation, their task was very easy. If there was any danger that could break through the maze formation, with their strength, they would not be able to block it. They were only there to serve as a warning. Li Er Xiaoheifei. In Qin Yu's mind, the images of these 3 people appeared one after another. Li Er's smile with slight dimples, Xiaohei's cold on the outside but warm on the inside, and the laughing Ho Fei. With a flip of his hand, Qin Yu takes out a transmitter. This time, he wants to inform his father's relatives, so that they will not be worried. Father, I'm safe now. But now I'm going to do closed-door training. I don't know how long I'll have to wait for this closed-door training. You don't have to worry. In the distant mysterious purple star, Qinda had been worried about Qin Yu ever since Qin Yu was captured. Now that he received a message from Qin Yu, he was naturally overjoyed. You are good. Qinda was completely relieved. Go train in seclusion, don't worry about me. Now that I know you are safe, I am relieved. Qin Yu continued to send messages to his family. Finally, when the message was over, Qin Yu put away the communication token and began to train in seclusion. Qin Yu closed his eyes. His whole mind was completely relaxed and began to merge with the heaven and earth. Following the pulse of the heaven and earth, Qin Yu sat down quietly. Forgetting time, forgetting place, forgetting the past, forgetting the future, forgetting oneself. His mind was empty, and he entered into a mysterious state. Once a practitioner enters this mysterious state, they may wake up in an instant. It may take 3 to 5 months to wake up. It may take 10 years, 100 years, or even 10,000 years or 100,000 years. It was very hard to say. As time passed, Qin Yu's body began to be covered with a layer of dust. That was the dust from the broken stones. Gradually, Qin Yu's whole body was covered with dust. Shuoyan and the other guardians did not help Qin Yu remove the dust. This was because Shuoyan and the others understood that in this state of seclusion, it was taboo to be interrupted. Qin Yu's body was covered with more and more dust, until he looked like a stone sculpture. On the purple mystic planet, which was not far from Yellowstone, there were countless self-cultivators fighting for power, territory, or even a precious ore. They were willing to go on a killing spree. No one knew that on a planet beside the purple mystic planet, there was a person quietly training. Inside the purple mystic planet, Qianlong continent, Qin dynasty's misty villa. 10 years, Yor has been training in seclusion for 10 years. I don't know when he will come back. Qinda looked up at the sky, and after a long time, he could not help but sigh. In these 10 years, the entire Qianlong continent was also in turmoil. The Ming dynasty, one of the 3 great dynasties of the Qianlong continent, had fallen into a precarious situation due to the sudden death of the previous emperor and the incompetence of the new emperor. Not only was the Ming dynasty under attack from the Qin dynasty, but the new emperor was also greedy and lustful. The whole Ming dynasty even had rebels. The Qin dynasty, on the other hand, was at its peak. The Ming dynasty's destruction was only a matter of a few years. The Han dynasty, on the other hand, had always been in a state of moderation. The new emperor, Emperor Wu of Han, was extremely wise. The Han dynasty's strength was also gradually increasing, and it posed a great threat to the Qin dynasty. Misty Villa, Qinda's courtyard. A person walked in. It was Qin Feng. Father. Seeing his father's expression, Qin Feng cannot help feeling sad in his heart. Ever since his third brother left, every year at this time, Qinda would miss Qin Yu in this room where Qin Yu used to live. Oh, it's Fenger. Qinda smiled at Qin Feng. Father, little Yu already said that he is training in seclusion. You don't have to worry too much. Qin Feng said. I'm not worried. I just miss him a little. Qinda shook his head. At this time, there was a vibration in the air, and two people appeared in the courtyard. These two people were Zhongju and Yu Liang. Zhongju was about to ascend. Before he ascended, he was going to say goodbye to Qin Yu. However, when he sent a message to Qin Yu was in seclusion and didn't respond. So Zhongju went to find Qinda and learned about what happened in the past. After knowing the faces of the four people, Zhongju guessed their identities. Zhongju had no way to deal with Ao Feng and the other two. He also couldn't find where they were. But dealing with Yu Liang was very easy. Zhongju directly went to the wilderness and captured Yu Liang. Facing Zhongju, Yu Liang had no power to fight back. Qinda Senior Lan has done me a great favor. I have no way to repay him. The day after tomorrow, I will ascend to the immortal devil and demon realm. You can do whatever you want with Yu Liang. Zhongju pushed Yu Liang in front of Qinda. Qinda and Qin Feng were stunned. The two of you, I was wrong that day. I will return the top-grade immortal weapon to the two of you. I hope the two of you can forgive me. Yu Liang's heart was full of anger. To a Yuanying and Jin Dan stage small fry begging for mercy. As the ruler of the wilderness, how could he not be angry? But there was no other way, he could only endure. Humph, I'll endure it now. This Zhongju is about to ascend. When he ascends, I will definitely uproot today's shame. Yu Liang said in his heart. Although Qinda's skill is not very good, but his ability to read people is very high. Just by looking at Yu Liang's eyes, he knew what Yu Liang was thinking. Zhongju is about to ascend. When he does, this Yu Liang only needs to think a little, and it will be a disaster for us. Qinda immediately said, Senior Zhong, this person, kill him. Yu Liang's face changed. Kill. Zhongju's eyes lit up, then he smiled and said, Good. To be honest, that Qin Yu is not as ruthless as you, his father. While speaking, Zhongju stabbed Yu Liang in the stomach. Seeing Yu Liang die, Qinda only smiled faintly. In the past, he led millions of troops and became the emperor of the Qin dynasty. What kind of ripples would there be in killing a person? Yu Liang's soul was shattered, and he died on the spot. A dignified ruler of the wilderness, but because of his greed, he ended up in such a state. On the path of cultivation, there is always a higher mountain. Who knows when your soul will scatter? Fenger, this is also the reason why I don't want you to enter the cultivation world. Qinda said to Qin Feng. I understand. Qin Feng nodded. Zhongju looked at Qinda and his eyes lit up. You see it clearly. But Qinda, you can still live a peaceful life in the Qianlong continent, but in the immortal devil and demon realm, where fish and dragons mix together, it will be impossible for you to live a peaceful life. To be able to live a peaceful life for 1,000 years, I am already very satisfied. One should be content with what one has. As for ascending to the immortal devil and demon realm, who knows when that will happen? Qinda said with a faint smile. Zhongju nodded. Qinda, I hope to see you in the immortal devil and demon realm in the future. After saying that, Zhongju disappeared. Yu Liang's death was just an interlude. On the mysterious purple star, the number of self-cultivators is in the hundreds of millions. Every year, countless self-cultivators die. Maybe some extraordinary person will die in some corner. Time flowed like water, and in the blink of an eye, 100 years passed. On the Qianlong continent, the Ming dynasty was finally destroyed. However, the Qin dynasty only obtained half of the Ming dynasty's territory. The other half was unexpectedly seized by a new country called Zhou. The Zhou dynasty and Han dynasty joined forces to resist the Qin dynasty. For a time, the Qianlong continent was in a new balance. The current emperor of the Qin dynasty is Qin Zheng's grandson. On the mysterious purple star, the Qianlong continent was like a surging storm. On the Yellowstone star it was still quiet. In the huge maze, Qin Yu was still sitting cross-legged. The four protectors were also quietly guarding him. No one knew how long Qin Yu would have to wait before coming out of seclusion. On this day, the temperature of the Yellowstone star began to rise. In just 3 days, the low temperature had soared to more than 100 degrees. The entire surface of the Yellowstone star was boiling hot. The four protectors were no longer calm. Only Qin Yu was still sitting. The high temperature had no effect on him. Chapter 311. Back on Yellowstone, Shuo Yan and the other three stood up and surrounded Qin Yu to protect him. Madam Shuo Yan, for the temperature to change so much, it must be because of the star. The star must have reached the stage of destruction. One of the four protectors, a tall and thin man, spoke up. Shuo Yan and the others looked towards the distant northern horizon. I remember when Master was in seclusion, the size of the star wasn't that big. But now that it has grown so much, it must have entered the stage of destruction. Shuo Yan nodded. A star's age is almost infinite, but it's only almost. If it continues to burn like this, one day it will be destroyed. But now it's erupting with heat that's thousands of times stronger than before. It's a sign of destruction. This also caused the temperature of Yellowstone to continue to rise. As for the purple mystic star, because of the protection of the purple mystic star, the cultivators inside were not affected in the slightest. Now it's not the final eruption stage. When it does, the heat will increase by 100 times. At that time, the surrounding space will be shaken. Madam Shuo Yan, should we remind Master that if he continues his seclusion, when the time comes, he will be affected? Another of the four protectors, a woman in a green dress, spoke up. Shuo Yan pondered for a moment and shook her head. For the time being there is no need. The star is quite far from Yellowstone. Even if the space is shaken, the impact will be very slight. Also, we have a maze formation around us, which has the ability to affect space itself. Presumably, it won't affect Master. If we wake Master up now, it may cause Master's hard work to go to waste. Listen, from now on, we must focus all our attention. That star is so far away from Yellowstone, yet it's still able to erupt with such terrifying heat. It's obvious that it's a very large star. Once it's destroyed, it's likely that it'll form an area of destruction. The surrounding space will also be affected. We must be careful, Shuo Yan ordered. Yes, madam. The other three people respectfully replied. Immediately, the four protectors focused their attention and quietly stood guard. The heat emitted by the star was getting stronger and stronger, and the temperature of Yellowstone was rising. But Qin Yu was still quietly cultivating. During the period of cultivation, Lu Xing's tears constantly nourished Qin Yu's soul. At the same time, the life force slowly seeped into Qin Yu's body. After over 100 years of nourishment, Qin Yu's soul was already very strong. His body had also reached a new level. However, his dantian was still a blazing star. What he lacked now was a leap forward, a breakthrough leap. However, Qin Yu was not in a hurry at all. This feeling of merging with heaven and earth was very comfortable, as if a baby had returned to his mother's embrace. Time passed, it was unknown how many years had passed. Be careful, the star is preparing for its final eruption, Shuo Yan shouted, and the other three protectors nodded. His attention was focused on the huge star that had reached the stage of destruction. They saw the area covered by the flames on the already huge star increased once again. It looked like the size of the entire star had increased by thousands of times. Since there was no special energy protecting planet Yellowstone's periphery, the temperature of planet Yellowstone instantly rose to an extremely shocking level. It rapidly expanded to the limit, but in an instant, at a terrifying speed, the star suddenly shrank. This rapid expansion and shrinkage caused the entire space to tremble. When the tremors reached planet Yellowstone, they were very slight. Logically speaking, they should not have affected Qinyu. However, Qinyu, who had merged with heaven and earth, was very sensitive to these spatial tremors. Wang! Qinyu's body trembled, and the countless dust particles scattered, revealing Qinyu, who was sitting cross-legged. Qinyu's eyes that had been closed for over 100 years suddenly opened. Two astonishing rays of light shot into the sky. Those were Qinyu's eyes. When Qinyu opened his eyes, he immediately saw the scene of the star rapidly shrinking. The star shrank rapidly, from its original dazzling state. Its volume had shrunk countless times. And then it disappeared. The entire star had unexpectedly disappeared. And immediately after, a terrifying suction force appeared in space. When this force reached planet Yellowstone, it was naturally very slight. This suction force persisted for a long time, causing the entire universe to undergo a slight change. Every moment, there would be some changes in the universe, and these changes would lead to the evolution of the universe. This star is really big. In the end, it should have formed the devouring destruction zone, and not the dark star. Shuoyin said with a smile. If Qinyu heard this, he would naturally understand. This so-called devouring destruction zone should be a black hole, and the dark star should be similar to a white dwarf with a terrifying gravitational force. Why is it so hot? The four protectors felt the surrounding speed increase again, and the temperature was even more terrifying than before. My lord, look at Master, The green-clothed woman of the four protectors looked at Qinyu in shock. Shuo Yan and the others also looked at Qinyu. At this moment, Qinyu's body was surrounded by blazing flames, and Qinyu was like a god of fire. Star collapsed, black hole destroyed and then rebuilt. Qinyu muttered. Suddenly, haha, I understand. Qinyu's whole body was covered in purple flames, and the flames expanded in all directions. Shuo Yan and the others saw the heavenly flames, and immediately tried to resist. A level 1 demon might not be able to withstand the heavenly flames, but Shuo Yan and the others were elites among level 9 demons. As long as they were careful, they could withstand it. My lord, what's going on? Shuo Yan and the others did not understand. After 100 years of bitter cultivation, Qinyu's hair was very long. At this moment, his long hair was dancing in the wind, and the purple flames were burning in 100-meter radius. Qinyu's whole body was floating in the air, like a god of fire. After a moment, Qinyu's face slightly changed. The energy seems to be insufficient. A yuanying suddenly appeared in Qinyu's hand. It was the yuanying of a 9th tribulation loose devil that Qinyu had killed when he burned down the Inua Mountains. The yuanying of that 9th tribulation loose devil turned into a powerful liquid energy in front of Qinyu. Xiao! Qinyu opens his mouth and swallows like a whale. The energy of a 9th tribulation loose devil's yuanying is unexpectedly sucked directly into his body in a breath's time. In just a short while, boom! The purple flames suddenly expanded, and in a flash, the range of the purple flames expanded rapidly. From the initial 100-meter radius, it expanded to tens of thousands of meters, simply to a terrifying extent. Shrink. Suddenly shrink. That purple flame, which has swelled to its limit, immediately converges into Qinyu's body. Within the range of this bewildering formation, a layer of the yellow stones has been burnt to a depth of more than 10 meters. That stone house has also been burnt to the ground. Fortunately, the 4 level 9 demons had profound skills, and were able to hold on. Qinyu stood in the air, his long hair fluttering in the wind, motionless. The 4 law protectors looked at Qinyu in amazement. What's the matter with Master? The green-clad woman asked. The others all shook their heads. In their hearts, they were all wondering what had happened to Qinyu at the moment. Just now, Qinyu's energy outburst gave them a fright, but now Qinyu is still, making them even more perturbed. Times destruction is followed by re-establishment. The final path is for a star to collapse and form a black hole. But to collapse and form a black hole, it really needs too much energy. Qinyu could not help sighing inwardly when he sees the situation in his dantian. The moment he opened his eyes and saw the star collapse, Qinyu had an epiphany. After more than 100 years of quiet practice, He was enlightened at this moment. Currently, within Qinyu's dantian, was an extremely small dark red-colored bead. That dark red-colored bead was over 10 million times smaller than the original star within his dantian. However, the energy within this dark red-colored bead was over 10,000 times purer. To form a black hole after a star collapses, it really needs too much energy. There is already a lot of star energy in my dantian. In the end, I also added the yuanying of a ninth tribulation loose devil, but it only formed a dark star. It's still very far from a black hole. But this time when the star collapsed, I lost at least 50% of my energy, but my attack power increased by 100 times. Qinyu understood. The moment the star collapsed, it emitted too much energy. However, the remaining energy, which was less than 50%, was condensed thousands of times. In the end, it formed a dark star. The energy was extremely pure, and its attack power was extremely shocking. Qinyu felt very relaxed, because he has already created the 7th stage of the stellar transformations, dark cycle. The 6th stage of the stellar stage, the energy is blazing and violent. The 7th stage, dark cycle, is the collapse of the stellar stage, and its volume is reduced by 10 million times. If the energy of the stellar stage is like a piece of scrap iron, then the energy of the dark cycle is a piece of scrap iron that has been refined until all its impurities are compressed by 10 million times, forming a sharp needle. If I'm not wrong, then the next stage is to collapse the dark star again to form a black hole. But the energy required to form a black hole is too much, and with such a terrifying amount of energy, my soul power is unable to control it. Qinyu understood very well. His soul power is now very deep. Before entering Inai Yang's realm, he had already entered the celestial immortal realm. And after training for more than 100 years, Qinyu's soul power is equivalent to that of a level 7 celestial immortal realm. But with so many celestial immortals, when controlling so much energy collapse, he nearly lost control. Black hole stage. Perhaps I can only try it when my soul reaches the golden immortal realm. Qinyu understood very well. The collapse of a star, in theory, is simple, but in practice, it is very complicated. Qinyu had suddenly gained some insight when he opened his eyes and saw that scene. This insight, in fact, was not unrelated to the 100 years of training. Qinyu opened his eyes and saw the worried faces of the 4 great protectors. Qinyu calculated in his heart. Haha, I didn't expect that I, Qinyu, have been fighting all the way on mysterious purple star, and have not reached the stellar stage for more than 100 years. This time, I have spent more than 150 years in seclusion. Interesting. Qinyu could not help but sigh. In these 150 years, Qinyu's soul power was able to reach the level of a level 7 celestial immortal. First, Qinyu's fusion with the heaven and earth, but the most important factor was the nourishment of Lu Xing's tears. Congratulations, Master. Shuo Yan and the other 3 immediately bowed. All of you get up. This time, I was able to achieve a breakthrough because of your protection. Qinyu was very happy. To be able to achieve the final breakthrough, he was naturally overjoyed. Stellar transformations began with the Dark Week, and every subsequent stage would be created by Qinyu. My lord, in the past, your body had a faint energy, we could feel it. How come you don't have a trace of energy now? Shuoyan was surprised. She was a level 9 celestial demon, but she could not feel Qinyu's energy. This is because of my cultivation method. Qinyu said indifferently. Qinyu understood that this was the reason for reaching the Dark Week stage. Dark Star. It was not only because the energy was completely condensed into a very small dark red sphere, but also because of another reason, a devouring force. This dark star was similar to the so-called white dwarf, or neutron star, in his master's universe. The devouring force was very amazing. Qinyu's heart was moved. The surrounding energy of heaven and earth was like a whirlwind, constantly converging into Qinyu's body, and was directly sucked into the small dark red sphere. No matter how much energy was absorbed, the dark red sphere did not change at all. It seemed that the energy of this dark star was too pure. And at this time, Qinyu's mind trembled. An inexplicable message suddenly rushed into his mind. He would ascend to the immortal, devil and demon realm in 3 months. Ascend to the immortal devil and demon realm? Qin was happy. He had trained bitterly for so many years. Wasn't it all for the sake of ascending to the immortal, devil and demon realm? Only by ascending to the immortal, devil and demon realm would he be able to see Hou Fei, Kuro and Li Er. At this time Qin Yu's body, Lu Xing's tear, began to tremble. Qin Yu's face changed. He immediately closed his eyes and immersed his mind into his body, carefully paying attention to everything related to Lu Xing's tear. At this time, Lu Xing's tear also changed. Lu Xing's tear looked like a teardrop. At this moment, Lu Xing's tear flew directly into Qin Yu's mind, and then flew to the location of Qin Yu's soul. Now that Qin Yu's soul had condensed into a substance, Lu Xing's tear blended into his soul, and at the same time, the surrounding soul energy was completely absorbed into Lu Xing's tear. His soul and Lu Xing's tear fused, and the soul energy was completely withdrawn. Even if an expert were to investigate, they would not be able to detect the slightest trace of Qin Yu's aura. Tremble. Qin Yu's whole body quivered. Showa Yan and the other 3 carefully looked at Qin Yu. Today, Qin Yu was standing in the air, his long hair fluttering in the wind. His whole body did not have any aura, including the aura of his soul. He was like a lifeless stone. Suddenly, Qin Yu opened his eyes were bright, and his whole body was restored to vitality. So after the soul condenses into a substance, it still needs to go through the 3 souls' 9 refinements. Qin Yu murmured, his face had a satisfied smile. Chapter 312. The 3 souls' 9 refinements is a special kind of soul training technique. This technique was transmitted into Qin Yu's mind from the meteoric tear, after he had fused with it. This Lu Xing's tear is too mysterious. Even now that it can fuse with my soul, I still don't know anything about it. Qin Yu's face showed a trace of helplessness. Master, are you feeling okay? Showa Yan asked after a long time. Just now Qin Yu's aura had completely disappeared, as if his soul had dispersed. This gave Showa Yan and the others a big fright. But after a while, Qin Yu opened his eyes again, giving the other 3 a feeling that their master's eyes were even sharper. I feel very good. Qin Yu nodded. After the fusion of Lu Xing's tear and his soul, Qin Yu's control over the power of the soul was raised to the extreme. He could even retract all of his soul power into Lu Xing's tear, making it impossible for others to sense his aura. He had complete control over every bit of energy in his body, whether it was the dark star in his dantian, or his soul, or even his body. The feeling of complete control was wonderful. You all rest on the side. I still need to familiarize myself with my current energy. Qin Yu said to the 4. Yes, master. The 4 bowed and immediately retreated to the side. Qin Yu's whole body muscles tightened. The space around him trembled slightly. Qin Yu's right hand suddenly struck out, and in a flash, everyone could see that Qin Yu had punched out thousands of times at the same spot. Puff! Qin Yu's figure flew back, only to see that the spot where he struck just now had shattered. Master's body is so strong. Showa Yan and the others were shocked. They had seen the explosive power of his body, and even these level 9 demons didn't dare to take it head-on. Qin Yu looked at the scene with satisfaction. After being nurtured by the elemental life force for more than 150 years, my physical body is indeed much stronger than before. This time, he had been cultivating in seclusion for more than 150 years. On the purple mystic star, he had cultivated to the star stage for less than 100 years. It was not surprising that he had achieved so much in the past 150 years. By relying on his fleshly body alone, he should be able to fight on par with the level 7 heavenly immortal. Qin Yu speculated. As for how strong Qin Yu's fleshly body was, Qin Yu himself wasn't very sure. Perhaps he would only know after fighting a level 7 heavenly immortal expert. But compared to his physical body, Qin Yu was confident in the energy of the 7th stage of the stellar transformations, the dark cycle. The yuanying of a 9th tribulation loose cultivator is equivalent to the yuanying of a 6th level immortal, plus my own eternal star. The dark star formed from the collapse of this star might not have as much energy as a level 8 or level 9 celestial immortal, but its attack power might not necessarily be the same. Qin Yu felt very confident. After all, the attack power of the Dark Sun was extremely concentrated. Now let's test out the strength of the Dark Sun. Qin Yu felt a little excited. This was the first time he used the true attack power of the 7th stage of the stellar transformations. He withdrew his fist to his waist. Punch! Like a thunderbolt in the dark night. Like a piece of paper being cut by a knife, a straight line appeared in space. The long line of space began to suck in the surrounding energy. Qin Yu's whole body had already retreated at the same time as he punched. Just the power of a single punch, but it's comparable to the power of my fleshly body. Qin Yu felt very satisfied, but Shuo Yan and the other 3 were shocked. In the mortal world, being able to shatter the void was not a difficult thing. But what surprised them was, Qin Yu's punch did not affect the surrounding people at all. The attack was condensed to the extreme. Shuo Yan, what do you think of my attack power? Qin Yu asked. Shuo Yan pondered for a moment and shook her head. I'm sorry, master. Because this is the mortal world, being able to shatter the void only means that master's attack power is very strong, at least comparable to a level 8 or level 9 celestial immortal. But as for your true strength, it's hard to judge. Qin Yu nodded. I remember. As long as you reach the level of a golden immortal, you can open the 2nd layer of the Atlas, right? Qin Yu suddenly said with a smile. Yes. Shuo Yan nodded. Suddenly, Shuo Yan was surprised. Master, don't tell me you want to. The other 3 spirit beasts also looked at Qin Yu. Open the 2nd layer of the Atlas? Looking at Qin Yu's current strength, it's hard to say whether he can open it or not. If he really opens it, there will be a lot of Demon King level spirit beasts, and they will be at the bottom of the pile. Yes, the requirement to open the 2nd layer of the Atlas is to reach the level of a golden immortal. As long as I have that strength. Qin Yu immediately flipped his hand and took out the Atlas. Although he had just broken through, but the attack power of the Dark Week was indeed amazing. In terms of attack power, it might even be comparable to a golden immortal. The extremely condensed and sharp energy within Qin Yu's body was channeled into the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. The 10,000 Beasts Atlas emitted a faint light, and Qin Yu's face began to turn red. After a while, Qin Yu gave up. The Atlas returned to its normal state. Just a little bit more. Qin Yu felt helpless. Just now, he could clearly feel the sharp energy of the stars rushing towards him. But it was just a little bit more. Looks like I'm still not as strong as a golden immortal. Qin Yu sighed, and then shook his head with a smile. Was he being too greedy? He had just broken through to the Dark Week realm, and he was already trying to open the 2nd layer of the Atlas. In fact, the fact that the Dark Star's attack power was so strong, he should be laughing. The Dark Week corresponds to the heavenly immortal realm, but since I created the Dark Week, I should break it down. Qin Yu began to think about the level of this cultivation technique. He had broken through, and now a dark red ball had formed in his body, and its attack power was close to that of a golden immortal. What level of the Dark Week was this? The early stage of the Dark Star? No, if I didn't absorb the yuanying of the 9th Tribulation Loose Cultivator during the collapse, I guess the Dark Star formed is the early stage of the Dark Star. As for now, Qin Yu found it difficult to judge. In fact, Qin Yu was not very clear. If he didn't absorb the yuanying of the 9th level Loose Cultivator, his star would also collapse and form a dark star. But it would be a red dark star. Now Qin Yu's dark red dark star was already at the 2nd stage. This was thanks to the yuanying of the 9th level Loose Cultivator. After all, my attack power is close to that of a golden immortal, and I also absorbed the yuanying of a 9th level Loose Cultivator. For now, I'll define it as the middle stage of the Dark Star. Qin Yu began to carefully divide the levels of the Dark Week. In the early stage of the Dark Star, its energy was equivalent to that of a 1 to 3 heavenly immortal, and its attack power was equivalent to that of a 4 to 6 heavenly immortal. In the middle stage of the Dark Star, its energy was equivalent to that of a 4 to 6 heavenly immortal, and its attack power was equivalent to that of a 7 to 9 heavenly immortal. In the late stage of the dark star, its energy was equivalent to that of a 7 to 9 heavenly immortal, and its attack power was equivalent to that of a 1 to 3 golden immortal. This was the result of Qin Yu's own energy. When he absorbed the yuanying of the 9th tribulation loose cultivator, it was equivalent to the yuanying of a 6th level heavenly immortal, and also had the energy of his own star. But during the collapse, he lost more than half of it. His overall energy was estimated to be around that of a 5th or 6th level heavenly immortal. But because the energy of the dark star was extremely pure, its attack power was only around that of a 8th or 9th level heavenly immortal. Shuoyan, come and spar with me. Qin Yu shouted to Shuoyan. Spar with master? Shuoyan was startled. Qin Yu nodded with a smile. Shuoyan couldn't help but feel distressed. After all, she was the leader of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. Although she was a 9th level heavenly demon, her attack power was not inferior to that of a 1st level demon king. Fighting with her own master, if she were to injure him, then the consequences would be dire. Just do it, don't worry, Qin Yu said indifferently, now that his strength had greatly increased, and with the protection of Lu Xing's tear. Qin Yu believed that he could still compete with Shuoyan. Yes, master. Qin Yu had given the order, so Shuoyan could not resist. Be careful, Qin Yu coldly shouted, and made his move. Qin Yu did not move, but a sharp sword qi shot towards Shuoyan. At this moment, Qin Yu was holding a top-grade immortal weapon, and the energy of the dark star was infused into it. Because the energy of the dark star was originally extremely pure, the sword qi's sharpness was not inferior to that of a 8th or 9th level heavenly immortal. With Qin Yu's strength and a top-grade immortal weapon, his attack power was terrifying. When Shuoyan saw the sword qi, she knew that her master's strength was formidable. She didn't hide her strength anymore, and in her hand appeared a dark green scimitar. She began to resist the sword qi and began to attack. Good. The top-grade immortal weapon in Qin Yu's hand suddenly turned into a dagger, and Qin Yu's whole body turned into an afterimage. After reaching the middle stage of the Dark Star realm, Qin Yu's current speed was even more astonishing. One could only see the afterimages attacking Shuoyan. At the same time, among the countless afterimages, there was also the cold light of the dagger. What a fast speed! Shuoyan's body was a fox, and she was good at speed. But compared to Qin Yu, she was at a disadvantage. The energy condensed to the extreme brought about astonishing speed. The powerful body also allowed Qin Yu's speed to reach another level. To be able to surpass Shuoyan in terms of speed, Qin Yu had already expected it. Thousand fox shadows. Behind Shuoyan, a fox tail suddenly appeared, and at the same time, the fox tail turned into 1,000. Looking at the sky full of fox tails, Qin Yu only felt his head become muddled, and then he immediately sobered up. But in the blink of an eye, the dark green scimitar had already arrived in front of Qin Yu. Lu Xing's strike. Shuoyan was stunned. Qin Yu did not care about the scimitar, and instead closed his eyes. The dark star energy in his body rapidly formed a huge nebula around him. Closed eyes? Shuoyan's hand holding the scimitar trembled. After all, Qin Yu was her master, and she did not dare to kill him. What a wonderful feeling! Qin Yu suddenly felt that his connection with the heaven and earth had reached a terrifying level. Speed. Speed. Exceeding the limit of speed. Qi. With the top-grade immortal sword as the pinnacle, Qin Yu's whole body was like a sharp awl. Relying on the stellar domain and his connection with the heaven and earth, he burst out with unprecedented speed and passed by Shuoyan. Shuoyan's whole body disappeared in a flash. A huge crack in space appeared. This crack was too big, at least 100 meters wide. It crazily swallowed everything around it, and for a moment, the surrounding rocks were swallowed up. Whether it was Qin Yu or the four law protectors, they all disappeared. After a moment, the crack in space disappeared, and Yellowstone returned to normal. After a long time, Qin Yu appeared again. Heavens, I just wanted to test out Lu Xing's attack. Was it necessary to make such a big scene to scare me? Qin Yu laughed at himself, but his heart was still trembling. Fortunately, I reacted quickly and put them all into the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. I also escaped into the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Otherwise, it would have been really dangerous. After Qingyu released that attack, he knew it was not good. He immediately put away the 4 law protectors, and in one breath, drilled hundreds of meters deep into the ground, and hid in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Then Qingyu smiled. Although it was a little dangerous, but it also confirmed what I thought. During Lu Xing's period, the energy was also condensed. Lu Xing's attack was very powerful. And now, the Dark Sun is condensed to the extreme. Using Lu Xing's attack, the power is even more outrageous. This time, even a golden immortal would not dare to receive it. Qingyu was satisfied. In fact, the current Qingyu, in addition to his own strength, also had the Blazing Profound Ring. With the help of the Blazing Profound Ring's 3 domains, Qingyu could defeat a level 1 or 2 golden immortal. Let's solve this maze first. I should return to the Purple Mystic Planet. Qingyu sighed. Looking up at the starry sky, the stars in the boundless starry sky still existed. The Purple Mystic Planet was still so eye-catching. That was his home, the home that raised him. No matter what, he had to go back before he ascended. For ordinary people, it was almost impossible to teleport between 2 planets. Because the path between 2 planets could not be seen with just the eyes. Because in the universe, space was twisted and turned. But Qingyu was different. On the Purple Mystic Planet, the Ink Qilin and the Extreme Ice Lion were his spirit beasts, and had a soul connection with him. Qingyu could easily sense the position of the Ink Qilin and the Extreme Ice Lion. As long as he kept teleporting in that direction, he would definitely be able to return. I can only use some of the top-grade elemental spirit stones. With a thought, Qingyu summoned the sword Immortal Lan Feng out of thin air, and flew towards the various bases of the maze. Breaking the maze from the inside was much easier. In just a moment, the maze was broken. Shuoyan. With a thought, Qingyu summoned Shuoyan in front of Qingyu. She immediately bowed and said, "My lord." "Shuoyan, how do I use teleportation?" Shuoyan respectfully said, "My lord, teleportation is a divine ability that all heavenly demons, heavenly immortals, heavenly demons can use. As long as the power of the soul is integrated with the heaven and earth, then you can sense where you want to teleport." "Good, you can go back first." Qingyu nodded. Shuoyan bowed and retreated, then disappeared back into the atlas. Qingyu looked at the Purple Mystic Planet and tried to sense the position of the Extreme Ice Lion. Teleportation, a divine ability shared by all heavenly immortals. Let me give it a try. Qingyu closed his eyes and began to integrate his soul with the heaven and earth. But at this time, a comfortable feeling spread throughout Qingyu's body. It was as if he was sleeping in his mother's embrace. In Qingyu's mind, the image of the Extreme Ice Lion appeared, and even the courtyard where he was. Qingyu relied on that special and wonderful feeling. Teleportation. Qingyu disappeared from the Yellowstone star. When Qingyu reappeared, is it really teleportation? Qingyu looked at the shocked Extreme Ice Lion in front of him, and couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Teleportation. Can one directly teleport from the Yellowstone star to the Purple Mystic Planet's hidden dragon continent? Chapter 313. Qingyu initially wanted to teleport as far as he could. But who would have thought that he would be able to teleport to the Qianlong continent? "Shuoyan, come out!" Qingyu quickly summoned Shuoyan. In terms of understanding of teleportation, Shuoyan was indeed much better than Qingyu. "Shuoyan, tell me, how far can you teleport? Is it possible to go directly from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star?" As soon as Shuoyan came out, Qingyu immediately asked. Shuoyan was stunned. Go directly from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star? Is that still called teleportation? Master, don't joke around. How can teleportation be that far? To teleport from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star, even if you know the route, it would take at least 100 times. Shuoyan said with absolute certainty. Suddenly Shuoyan looked around. Her whole body was stunned. Master, this should be Purple Mystic Star, right? Shuoyan couldn't believe what she was seeing, but the surrounding trees and houses, as well as the Ice Lion Shirexian, who wanted to speak, but was silenced by Qingyu's glare. All of this explained that this was Purple Mystic Star. Shuo Yin remembered very clearly that her master had summoned her to ask about teleportation, and in the blink of an eye, they were already on Purple Mystic Star. This was too fast. This is Purple Mystic Star. Shuo Yin, listen carefully. Just now I used the method you described to teleport, but in the blink of an eye, I arrived on Purple Mystic Star's Qianlong continent. Qin Yu looked at Shuo Yin. Tell me what is going on. Shuo Yin looked at Qin Yu with some sluggishness. Master, you said you went directly from Yellowstone to Purple Mystic Star? Shuo Yin couldn't believe it. Qin Yu nodded again. Master, that was greater teleportation. It was definitely greater teleportation. If it was just teleportation, how could it be so far? But, with your skill, how could it be greater teleportation? Shuo Yin couldn't accept it. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Greater teleportation? As far as I know, greater teleportation is a divine ability that only golden immortals and above can use. Tell me, what are the main requirements to use greater teleportation? Yes, Shuo Yin replied, before continuing in detail. Before I talk about greater teleportation, I will first tell Master about the fundamental reason behind the teleportation and greater teleportation. What determines whether a person can teleport or not is the realm of his soul. Soul realm? Qin Yu asked. Shuo Yin nodded. Yes, in order to teleport, one's soul must be at least at the immortal, demon or demon level. As for greater void transference, one's soul has to reach the level of a golden immortal, demon king, or Yao king. But my soul state has yet to reach the level of a golden immortal. Qin Yu was puzzled. I don't know. Shuo Yin was also helpless. Qin Yu racked his brains for a moment, but still couldn't figure out how he could use the greater teleportation. In the end, he could only helplessly let Shuo Yin return to the Atlas. In fact, what Qin Yu didn't know was that this was the effect of the Lu Xing's tear. Lu Xing's tear allowed Qin Yu to easily and completely control the power of the soul. At the same time, it allowed Qin Yu's soul to have a high degree of compatibility with the heavens and earth. Whether it was teleportation or greater void transference, it all depended on the degree of compatibility with the heavens and earth. If one could reach a level where the heavens and earth were indistinguishable from each other, then one could instantly reach any place in the universe. Lu Xing's tear allowed Qin Yu's soul to have a higher degree of compatibility with the heavens and earth. This allowed Qin Yu to use the greater void transference. Times, Master? Sure Xian quietly called out. Oh, sure Xian. Qin Yu recovered from his deep thoughts. No matter how smart Qin Yu was, he didn't know that Lu Xing's tear not only had a super strong recovery ability and nourishing the body and soul, it also allowed Qin Yu's soul to integrate with the heavens and earth more easily. When Qin Yu merged with the heavens and earth, he thought that he had already reached that level of compatibility. Master, you've already made a breakthrough? Are you going to ascend? Sure Xian tried hard to suppress the excitement in his heart. In Sure Xian's opinion, Qin Yu should be about to ascend when he came out of seclusion. Qin Yu nodded and said, Soon. There are still 3 months left. Great, I can finally ascend. Finally, I finally have this day. Sure Xian's entire body trembled with excitement. His eyes began to turn red and moist. Qin Yu looked at Sure Xian and only smiled. He knew how Sure Xian was feeling. Sure Xian and his brothers had long reached the Desheng stage. If not for the fact that their masters, Qin Yu and his brothers, had not ascended, they would have ascended long ago. Sure Xian's 2 brothers, Sure Bing and Sure Zhan, had ascended over 100 years ago because they were the spiritual beasts of Ho Fei and Kuro. In these 100 years, Sure Xian often missed his brothers. And now, he was finally able to ascend together with Qin Yu. I've implicated you. Qin Yu also felt a bit guilty towards Sure Xian. If he did not cultivate bitterly for 100 years before ascending, how could Sure Xian be trapped in the mortal world and not be able to ascend? No, Master. I'm already very excited that you can ascend. Master, your father often wants to see you. You've come back and not seen him? Sure Xian said. Qin Yu nodded. Father. This time, didn't he come back for his family? Qin Yu's immortal sense, temporarily called immortal sense. After all, Qin Yu does not belong to the side of immortals, demons and monsters, spread out in all directions. In a moment, Qin Yu's spiritual sense covered the 3 dynasties of the Qianlong continent. His father and Finjiuzi are actually at the top of Mount Donglan. His big brother and second brother are resting in a temporary palace at the edge of the wilderness. In these 100 years, his father's power has also reached the early Dongxu stage. Qin Yu's figure moves and disappears. Times on top of Mount Donglan. The mountain wind blows. Qinda and Finjiuzi are playing chess in the wind. For these 2 Dongxu stage experts, the wind is nothing. The 2 of them have been playing chess for 13 whole days. Qinda and Finjiuzi play chess relatively slowly, especially towards the end. Sometimes they only play 1 chess piece after half a day. Father, Uncle Feng. The mountain wind blows strongly. Qin Yu's voice also blows into the 2 Finjiuzi's ears like the mountain wind. Qinda and Finjiuzi can ignore the mountain wind, but that voice that floats into their ears makes them tremble. Who? Qinda suddenly stands up and turns around to look not far away. As soon as he takes a look, his whole body starts to tremble. The chess piece in his hand also falls down on the chessboard without him noticing. The mountain wind blows. Qin Yu's long hair flutters and his robe billows. But his eyes are so similar to those of a child. There is still a trace of attachment. You finally come back. Qinda's voice trembles. His eyes cannot help reddening. Yes, I've come back. Qin Yu nods. Finjiuzi's voice rises. There is excitement in his voice. Come, Xiao Yu. Quickly sit down next to your father and Uncle Feng. Come quickly. As he is saying, Finjiuzi hurriedly beckons with his hands. Yes. In front of the elders, Qin Yu is like an obedient child. He sits down next to his father and Uncle Feng. Where have you been practicing for the past 100 years? I've tried everything, but I still haven't been able to find you. Qinda asks. The Yellowstone Star. Qin Yu says with a faint smile. The Yellowstone Star? You mean on another star? Qinda is slightly startled. Even Finjiuzi is stunned for a moment. Then Qinda laughs. I can't see through anything about you anymore. The Yellowstone Star, another star. I'm afraid even those loose immortals wouldn't dare to leave our star. Qin Yu nods. Even Reverend Ming Liang and the others wouldn't dare to leave the purple mystic star. After all, getting lost in the universe is an extremely terrifying thing. Unless they have the greater teleportation ability, they can easily enter a planet with people. Brother Feng, in my life, I'm most proud to have such a son. Qinda's face is full of pride. This is the expression of a father who is proud of his son. Finjiuzi nods. Brother Qinda, I remember when Xiao Yu was young, you didn't think he would become a genius and didn't care much about him. Hearing this, Qin Yu can't help but think back to those days. That year, that child, in the cold wind of the mountain peak, looked up at the starry sky and watched the stars in the night sky. That year, that child gritted his teeth and cultivated bitterly. His sweat sprinkled on the mountain path of Mount Donglan until he became an adult. Swimming in the lake, running with weights, flexibility training, digging his palms into the white sand, one scene after another appears in his mind. In the blink of an eye, more than 200 years have passed, but the memories are still so vivid. Qin Yu looks at his father. Everything he had done back then was to earn his father's praise. Qinda laughs self-mockingly. Yes, when I knew you couldn't cultivate and wasn't interested in politics, I gave up on him long ago. Who would have thought? Yu'er would become the first Xiantian external expert in the history of the Hidden Dragon continent. Not long after that, he stepped into the ranks of cultivators. Qinda sighs. Everything is like a dream. I didn't care about my third son, but he shocked me again and again. That time when more than 10,000 cultivators appeared at the same time, knelt down in front of me and shouted, "Greetings, Pavilion Master." I was stupefied. As my cultivation deepened, I learned a lot of things I didn't know in the past. Those formidable loose immortals came into my field of vision. Facing those loose immortals, our Qin clan had no power to resist. Only Yu'er. And those 2 protectors, they were unexpectedly divine beasts of the loose demon level. They were even Yu'er's spiritual beasts. Qinda smiles, then looks at Qin Yu. Yu'er, I really can't believe that I could have such a son. Father is proud of his son. Hearing these words, Qin Yu feels a surge of emotion in his heart. More than 100 years ago, 10 years after you had been in closed-door training, Zhongju appeared. He helped us kill Yu Liang, and in the end he ascended. He also told me that you were about to ascend too. All these years, I've been thinking, has you already ascended? Now I can set my mind at ease. At least I can still see you before you ascend. Qinda looks at his son with a gratified expression. With such a son, what regrets can he have in life? Father. Qin Yu's eyes turn slightly red, because he knows that he will have to ascend in 3 months. Ascension is a restriction imposed by the laws of heaven and earth. He simply cannot escape it. Don't be like this. Be a man. Qinda pats Qin Yu's shoulder. Qin Yu takes a deep breath and tries his best to squeeze out a smile. But his eyes are still red. The period before his ascension is indeed very comfortable. Qin Yu is accompanying his father, his big brother and second brother, as well as many of the younger generation of the Qin clan. Qin Yu is unexpectedly also from the generation of Qinda's great-grandfather. After all, in terms of years of cultivation, he has already been cultivating for more than 200 years. I didn't expect that in a short 30 years, the Qin dynasty would decline to this extent. On the eve of his ascension, Qin Yu is chatting with his 2 brothers and his father. Speaking of the decline of the Qin dynasty, Qin Yu cannot help but sigh endlessly. Little you don't worry about it. Whether a dynasty succeeds or fails, we can only let nature take its course. Moreover, it is almost impossible to let a dynasty flourish forever. Even though our Qin clan's latent power is extremely strong in the whole Qianlong continent, and even in the north of the chaotic Astral Ocean, a dynasty that cannot last for too long will not last forever. However, a dynasty maintained by force cannot last long. Moreover, it would also implicate the common people. Qin Zheng said indifferently. Qin Zheng has the ability to manage the country well, but it has been passed down from one emperor to another. Every emperor of the Qin dynasty has real power. Even when the last generation declined, Qin Zheng and the countless seniors of the Qin clan did not do anything. Because these seniors all understand that becoming the most powerful clan in the Qianlong continent will allow the Qin clan's descendants to concentrate more on cultivation. The way of the king. Nowadays, most of the Qin clan's descendants practice the way of the heaven and have stepped onto the path of cultivation. This is also good. Managing a country is indeed tiring. This is actually relaxing. Qin Yu takes a deep breath, then takes out a set of jade slips from his bosom and solemnly hands them over to his father. This is... Qinda takes the jade slips doubtfully. Qin Yu says solemnly, "This is my practice method, the stellar transformations. The requirements for practicing the stellar transformations are very high. First of all, one must practice external techniques to the Xiantian level. Father, you can choose some people who are talented in external techniques to train. If someone reaches the Xiantian level in external techniques, he can also be a human. Please help me pass down this set of techniques." Qin Yu stands up and looks up at the starry sky. This set of techniques was created by my master Lei Wei. There are 6 stages in total. The 7th stage was created by me, and the 8th stage is the one I imagined. As for the later stages, if the successor of the stellar transformations can meet me in the future, I'll tell him. If he can't, he can only rely on his own ability. Qin Yu says indifferently. Qinda nods solemnly. Don't worry. I'll definitely help you pass down this set of techniques. Even if I can't find a successor in this lifetime, I'll ask the Qin clan to help me find one. Qin Yu's heart relaxes. What will the future be like? No one knows. Leaving behind the stellar transformation set of techniques can be considered as not ending this unprecedented set of techniques. In the dark night, the family waits for the dawn. Qinda, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, Feng Yuzi, Su Yuan, and many other disciples of the Qin clan have come to the Misty Mountain Villa to look at the first senior of the Qin clan to ascend. Qinda looks at Qin Yu, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, and the others all look at Qin Yu with reluctance. Rays of light shoot down from the sky, covering Qin Yu and Shi Xian who is beside him. Gradually, in the golden light, Qin Yu and Xian slowly rise into the sky. Looking at his family below, Qin Yu's eyes redden. He suddenly turns his head to look at the sky. However, tears are rolling down his face and splattering on the ground below. Father, big brother, second brother, goodbye. Now, I can only hope that we can meet again in the immortal devil and demon realm. Qin Yu says in his heart. 2 rays of golden light flashes. Qin Yu and Xian disappear in front of Qin De, Qin Zheng, Qin Feng, and the other disciples of the Qin clan. They all know that Qin Yu has left the mortal world and arrived in another world. Chapter 314. The immortal devil and demon realm was an enormous universe, almost endless. The entire universe was filled with an endless amount of elemental spirit energy. The elemental spirit energy was 1 level higher than the heaven and earth spirit energy of the mortal world. The entire immortal devil and demon realm was divided into 4 major regions. The immortal realm was located in the east of the universe. The devil realm was located in the south of the universe. The demon realm was located in the west and north of the universe. In the northeast region, there was a special power. At the same time, the immortal devil and demon realms also had a mysterious region. These 4 regions were not very clearly separated. The places where they intersected were also tangled and complicated. The immortal and devil realms were connected by a large star field, the Indigo Bay star field. The Indigo Bay star field just happened to have 10 galaxies. The area of each of these 10 galaxies was incomparably vast. The number of planets in any one of these galaxies was innumerable. Of course, the number of planets with people was much less. Don't think that the lowest level in the immortal devil and demon realm was the immortal devil and demon realm. Because even in the immortal devil and demon realm, there were countless self-cultivators. These were the children of immortals and immortals in the beginning. However, these children became self-cultivators in the beginning, because the immortal devil and demon realm was filled with an endless amount of elemental spirit energy. Under the nurturing of the elemental spirit energy, the babies born were usually at least at the Xiantian level. The self-cultivators of the mortal world were unable to absorb elemental spirit energy. However, the self-cultivators of the immortal, devil and demon realm were different. Their ancestors were all immortals. Moreover, they absorbed elemental spirit energy from birth. They could absorb elemental spirit energy to cultivate. In the immortal devil and demon realm, most of the babies born were at the Xiantian level. Their aptitude was much better than the self-cultivators of the mortal world. Generally, they could become immortals after cultivating for 100 years. Compared to the mortal world's self-cultivators who needed to cultivate for thousands of years, it was simply not on the same level. Of course, to become immortals so quickly, the foundation of the immortals who successfully cultivated in the immortal, devil and demon realm was not as good as those who ascended from the mortal world. Times the Indigo Bay star field's Silver Stream galaxy had thousands of self-cultivator planets. Maple Moon star could only be considered as an upper-middle-class planet. There were tens of millions of self-cultivators, over 10,000 immortals, and only a few golden immortals. There were already so many heavenly immortals on a single planet. One could imagine how many heavenly immortals there were in the entire immortal, devil and demon realm. In the Indigo Bay star field where the immortal realm and the devil realm intersected, there was a cultivation planet called Maple Moon in the Silver Stream galaxy. On the outskirts of Lufeng City, one of the 3 major cities on Amber Moon beside a lake, a blue-clothed youth in his 20s was kneeling beside the lake, tears streaming down his face. Mother, after so many years of cultivation, I'm already 25 years old, but I'm still in the Jin Dan stage. Other than me, the oldest Jin Dan cultivator in the clan is only 16 years old. The blue-clothed youth's face was filled with resentment. His aptitude was so poor that it could be said to be unprecedented in the clan. I've been training very hard, but no matter how hard I train, it's useless. It's all useless. The blue-clothed youth smashed his fist on the ground. Without low-grade elemental holy ore, how long will it take for me to reach the Yuanying stage? My only chance was to fall behind the 100th place in the clan competition. The blue-clothed youth's face was filled with helplessness. The competition within the clan was between the disciples of the same generation. Other than him, the other disciples of his generation were all in the yuanying stage. If he wasn't at the bottom, who would be? I'm weak, and I'm always at the bottom in the competition. The clan didn't even give me a single low-grade elemental holy ore. As for those who are strong, the clan treats them as elite disciples and gives them low-grade elemental holy ore. Like this, I don't have any elemental holy ore. My strength is getting worse and worse, while their strength is getting stronger and stronger. The gap between us is getting bigger and bigger. This burden is getting heavier and heavier. With each passing year, the gap is getting bigger and bigger. I'm getting less and less confident. I really can't hold on anymore. The blue-clothed youth's eyes were filled with tears. I'm respectful to the seniors in the clan, and I train so hard. But it's useless. It's useless. I don't have any strength. I'm useless. If this goes on, I'll never become an elite disciple of the clan. I'll always be at the bottom. The blue-clothed youth's whole body was trembling. Father is so strict with me, but I have no choice. Every day, I spend more than half of my time training. But my talent is too poor, far inferior to others. My meridians are so weak. When will I be able to turn things around? The blue-clothed youth's face was bleak. Lu Hanshu, the surname Lu is a big surname. It's a glorious surname, but it gives me endless pressure. My heart is tired, and I can't take it anymore. The blue-clothed youth was Lu Hanshu. Lu clan, one of the 3 great clans of Maple Moon. The Lu clan had been operating for tens of thousands of years. Naturally, there were many disciples in the clan, and the competition within the clan was fierce. And Lu Hanshu was the weakest among his peers. Most newborns were in the Xiantian stage. With normal talent, they could enter the Jin Dan stage at the age of 5 or 6, and enter the Yuanying stage at the age of 10. But Lu Hanshu was already 25 years old, and he was still in the Jin Dan stage. Moreover, he was in the middle stage of the Jin Dan stage. His talent was poor, needless to say. Father's talent is poor, so he is very respectful to others. Once there was a sky immortal expert who helped Father open up his meridians in Dantian, allowing Father to catch up with the average person. Now he has reached the Dongshu stage. But I am also very respectful to others. But I have never met a noble. Father said that if I meet a master, I must bow and salute, and say some words of praise. But bowing my whole life, that kind of compromise, I can't stand it. Lu Hanshu laughed at himself. Mother, I have no talent, no strength, no wealth, and I still want to stand upright. Am I dreaming? Lu Hanshu smiled bleakly. Lu Hanshu had been too tired these years. As an adult, he was in the Jindan stage. Walking on the street, he was looked down upon. Even a 12 or 13-year-old child could easily defeat him in the Yuanying stage. Looked down upon by others. Looked down upon by the clan. Reprimanded by his father. Looked down upon by his peers in the clan. This kind of life was driving Lu Hanshu crazy. He also wanted to be respected. He also wanted to be praised. He also wanted to have a warm family. But this was a world of competition, a world where the strong were respected. He was weak. It was not that he didn't work hard. He worked harder than most people. But his talent was too poor. Whenever he couldn't bear it anymore, he would come to this lake. Because his mother was killed by a Kongming stage cultivator near this lake. His mother was very strong. She reached the Kongming stage in her 30s. If his mother was still alive, he might live a better life. But that was just a fantasy. Life is still going on. I also have to go back. The Amber Moon star was only so big. Where could he hide that the self-cultivators couldn't find him? I can only face reality and go back to practice seriously. Lu Hanshu stood up with a bitter smile. If Lu Hanshu really went back as usual, he would have to practice hard all his life and live at the bottom of the Amber Moon. However, this time was different from the previous times. Lu Hanshu had already turned around and was ready to go back. Hey, little brother. A voice called out. Lu Hanshu belonged to the bottom of the Amber Moon. When he heard someone call him, how could he not listen? Lu Hanshu immediately turned around His expression changed from bleak to respectful and friendly. This was the way to live a good life and not be humiliated by those with high skills. Lu Honshu looked carefully at the person who came. In the air, a figure appeared in front of Lu Honshu. So fast, at least a Kongming stage master. Lu Honshu had lived for many years, his eyesight was still good. The person who had arrived was dressed in black clothes. His long robe was fluttering in the wind, and his messy hair was fluttering in the wind. Those cold eyes seemed to be able to see through people's hearts. The person who came was Qin Yu. When Qin Yu and Shi Xian ascended together, he thought that since they ascended together, they would ascend to the same place. Who would have thought that when Qin Yu found out where he was, he couldn't find Shi Xian at all? Even with the soul connection, he could only sense that Shi Xian was far away in the west. Far away. Qin Yu couldn't even imagine what kind of distance it was. Obviously, Shi Xian ascended to the demon realm, and Qin Yu came to this planet. Junior Lu Honshu greets Senior. Lu Honshu said respectfully. Qin Yu looked at Lu Honshu and nodded. Using his immortal sense, Qin Yu found that Lu Honshu was at the middle stage of Jin Dan, but his meridians were unusually thin and weak. With such thin meridians you can reach the Jin Dan stage. Qin Yu was shocked. If in the mortal world, with such thin meridians, it would be impossible to reach the Xiantian stage. Not to mention reaching the Jin Dan stage. But Qin Yu's perspective was wrong. He forgot that mortal practitioners couldn't compare with the practitioners of the immortal devil and demon realm, because the practitioners of the immortal, devil and demon realm practiced elemental spiritual energy. How old are you this year? Qin Yu asked. He wanted to know how long it would take for someone with such thin and weak meridians to reach the Jin Dan stage. Lu Honshu's face showed a trace of a bitter smile. 25 years old, middle stage of Jin Dan. This was indeed a very shameful matter. Junior is 25 years old this year. Junior's aptitude is too poor. It took me so long to reach this level of strength. Lu Honshu replied respectfully. He didn't dare to not answer Qin Yu's question. Qin Yu was surprised. 25 years old? With such aptitude, you reached the middle stage of Jin Dan at 25 years old. You didn't lie to me? Qin Yu was shocked. In the Qianlong continent, the average practitioner needed several decades to reach the middle stage of Jin Dan, and 100 years to reach the middle stage of Jin Dan. To reach this stage at 25 years old, he was indeed a genius. Even Qin Yu only reached the nebulous stage when he was 20 years old. Junior really didn't lie to Senior. I wouldn't lie about such a shameful matter. Lu Honshu felt helpless, but he also felt that Qin Yu was different from the experts of the past. Most of the experts of the past were incomparably arrogant, but Qin Yu treated him with a smile. Shameful. Qin Yu was stunned. Although before Qin Yu came to the immortal, devil and demon realms, he only paid attention to the information regarding the immortal, devil and demon realms. He also paid attention to the general geographical knowledge and so on. Regarding the immortal, devil and demon realms cultivators, why would Qin Yu care? He didn't know that the immortal, devil and demon realms cultivators were special. Seeing Qin Yu's shocked expression, Lu Honshu laughed at himself. Generally, 5 or 6-year-old children can reach the Jin Dan stage, 10 or 11-year-old children can reach the Yuanying stage, and 20-year-old people can reach the Dongxi stage. I am 20-year-old and only at the Jin Dan stage. If not shameful, who would? Qin Yu was shocked when he heard all this. 5 or 6-year-old Jin Dan stage. Average? He was almost 20 years old and reached the nebulous stage, and was worshipped by countless of the Qin clan's younger generation. If this achievement was brought to the immortal devil and demon realms, wouldn't it be shameful? Shuo Yan, how can the immortal devil and demon realms cultivators cultivate so fast? Qin Yu asked Shuo Yan from the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts. Shuo Yan from the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts began to explain to Qin Yu in detail about the immortal, devil and demon realms. Although the two spoke a lot, but in reality, it was only a blink of an eye. So that's how it is. Qin Yu understood. In fact, Qin Yu also had some problems. He had a complete map of the entire immortal, devil and demon realms. Generally Golden Immortal, Demon King, Devil King, Level experts would not leave their galaxy. At most, they would use the teleportation array to travel between planets. His own spirit beasts from the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts were only familiar with a few planets in the demon realm. He had no idea about the map of the immortal, devil and demon realms. In the immortal, devil and demon realms, without a map, interstellar travel was simply impossible. Lu Hanshu, what planet is this? Which side of the immortal, devil and demon realms does it belong to? Qing Yu inquired. Lu Hanshu felt that Qing Yu's question was a little idiotic, but he still respectfully answered. Senior, this planet is called Amber Moon. It belongs to the Indigo Bay star field, the Silver Stream Galaxy. This Indigo Bay star field does not belong to the immortal realm, nor the devil realm. It is a star field that connects the immortal realm and the devil realm. In this star field, there are planets controlled by experts from the immortal realm, and planets controlled by experts from the devil realm. As for Amber Moon, it is controlled by the immortal realm. Qing Yu understood in his heart. So, he had ascended to a place that did not belong to the immortal realm, nor the devil realm. He had only opened the first layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts. Those heavenly demon-level spirit beasts probably did not even know anything about the immortal realm, or the devil realm. Not to mention this Amber Moon planet. In the immortal, devil and demon realms, those below the golden immortal or devil king level do not have the qualifications to travel between planets. For the time being, I will stay on this Amber Moon planet. I will wait until my power increases, and I can open the second layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts. Then I will set off. Qing Yu made up his mind. At this moment, Qing Yu also understood that this Lu Hanshu should be at the bottom of this planet. Lu Hanshu, I am not familiar with this Amber Moon planet. Can you lead the way? Here is a piece of middle-grade elemental holy rock as your reward. Qing Yu took out a piece of middle-grade elemental holy rock from the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion. Chapter 315. A piece of middle-grade elemental holy ore? To Qing Yu it was indeed nothing. The entire Qing Yu Immortal Mansion was made of elemental holy ore. Inside the mansion, there were many piles of elemental holy ore. Even high-grade elemental holy ore was plentiful. In the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion, one could casually pick up a piece of rock. If it wasn't an elemental holy ore, then it was an ore used to refine immortal tools. It was just that there was no top-grade elemental holy ore in the Qing Yu Immortal Mansion. Middle-grade elemental holy ore? Lead the way. Lu Hanshu wondered if his ears were playing tricks on him. Even for a celestial immortal, a piece of middle-grade elemental holy ore was something to be treasured. A celestial immortal who had a good life might casually take out a middle-grade elemental holy ore. A celestial immortal who had a bad life might treat a middle-grade elemental holy ore as a treasure. Lead the way. A middle-grade elemental holy ore to lead the way? Lu Hanshu looked at the middle-grade elemental holy ore in front of him. He felt as if the color of the whole world had changed. From the gray of the past, there was no hope. Could it be that you are unwilling? Qing Yu asked. Willing, of course this junior is willing. Lu Hanshu's whole body was filled with energy. In more than 20 years, he had never been so excited. But Lu Hanshu was not a careless person. Senior, leading the way is a small matter. It is not worth spending a middle-grade elemental holy ore. This junior is afraid to accept it. Lu Hanshu respectfully said. Qing Yu smiled and said, If I ask you to accept it, then accept it. This is also my first time on Amber Moon. There are many things I am not familiar with. I still need you to explain it to me. Come, first take me to a place to stay. As he said that, Qing Yu threw the middle-grade elemental holy ore over to him. Lu Hanshu took the middle-grade elemental holy ore and respectfully said, Senior, please follow this junior. But the hand holding the middle-grade elemental holy ore was trembling. Obviously he was very excited. Fortunately he had a storage bracelet. He put the middle-grade elemental holy ore into his storage bracelet and felt a little relieved. Lu Hanshu immediately rode on a flying sword and began to fly beside him. Qing Yu was also flying beside him. Actually, Qing Yu's immortal awareness had already discovered the existence of a city in the distance. Merely, Qin Yu currently knew very little about the immortal devil and demon realm. Thus, he decided to temporarily live in this city and familiarize himself with the matters of the immortal, devil and demon realm. And this Lu Honshu, who grew up on Amber Moon, could save him a lot of trouble. Moreover, Qin Yu also had the intention to help Honshu. Lufeng City, one of the 3 largest cities in Amber Moon, occupied a vast area. At least when Qin Yu was in his hometown, he had never seen such a huge city. There were at least 10 million people in this city. Senior, this is Lufeng City, one of the 3 major cities of Maple Moon. The 3 major cities of Maple Moon are Yanshan City, Wanglian City and Lufeng City. Honshu carefully introduced Lufeng City to Qin Yu. Qin Yu nodded. Honshu, how are the experts in Amber Moon? Qin Yu inquired. Honshu thought for a moment and said, experts in Amber Moon. The lowest level is Sky Immortal. In the entire Amber Moon, there are at least tens of thousands of Sky Immortals. However, Golden Immortals are very rare. In the entire Amber Moon, there are only a few. A few? Qin Yu's mouth curved into a smile. With Qin Yu's current strength, he could definitely crush the Amber Moon star as he wished. Not to mention the level 9 Golden Immortal Sword Immortal Puppet, just Qin Yu himself. Complemented by the Blazing Profound Ring, Sky Piercer, and Black Frozen Snow. Qin Yu's strength was also extraordinary. Are there any Xian Immortals or Immortal Emperor level experts? Qin Yu inquired. Immortal Emperor? Honshu gulped. Senior, that is a supreme level expert, too far away from us. Even the patriarch of my clan has never seen an Immortal Emperor before. Qin Yu nodded in his heart, it seems. Immortal Emperors were very rare. Lufeng City's gate was very wide. Qin Yu followed Honshu into the city. Upon entering the city gate, there was an extremely wide street with many people walking on it. Qin Yu swept a glance. The weakest children were Jin Dan stage. Even the babies in the arms of the women were Xiantian stage. Hearing about it was one thing, but seeing it was another. This scene made Qin Yu gasp in amazement. The immortal devil and demon realm was different. Even the babies were Xiantian stage. At this moment, there were some manners on both sides of the street, and some large shops selling ores, weapons, talismans. Lu Honshu stood beside Qin Yu and explained everything. Senior, the quality of this weapon shop is in the top 3 in the whole Lufeng City, but the price is very expensive. The wine in that restaurant is really good. I have drunk it once. Honshu was proud of that time. He was able to drink in that restaurant. Senior, that shop. After walking for an hour, Qin Yu finally had a general understanding of the immortal, devil and demon realm Xiuzhen cities. He also bought some good wine. The taste of the good wine here cannot be denied. It is indeed much better than the wine in the mortal realm. Senior, the owner of this Lufeng city is the Lu clan, one of the 3 major clans of Amber Moon. This junior is a direct descendant of the Lu clan. Lu Honshu whispered to Qin Yu. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Oh, I didn't expect Honshu to be a descendant of an aristocratic family. Honshu shook his head. Senior, don't make fun of me. I don't know how many generations the Lu clan has been passed down. The number of descendants in the Lu clan is more than 10,000. Although I am considered a direct descendant, but the Lu clan nurtures its descendants mainly based on their aptitude and strength. It doesn't have much to do with a direct descendant. In a world where the strong are respected, only those with strength will be respected. Who cares if you are a direct descendant or a branch descendant? Don't be discouraged. The strong also started as a weakling. Qin Yu laughed. Looking at Honshu, Qin Yu also thought of himself. Back then he couldn't even practice internal energy. Compared to Honshu, his aptitude was even worse. So bad that he could only start from the outside and practice his internal energy to reach his current level of cultivation. Lu Honshu nodded after receiving Qin Yu's encouragement. Senior, it is my good fortune to be able to walk beside you today. Normally, how could I have the opportunity to walk in the middle of the road? Someone would have kicked me to the side of the road long ago. Honshu laughed at himself. Qin Yu also patted Honshu's shoulder to comfort him. He also saw that many people on the road were looking at Honshu with mocking eyes. But when they saw Qin Yu beside Han Shu, they didn't dare to look at Han Shu that way. Times, Senior, this is Junior's home. Amber Moon doesn't have much, but it has a lot of land. This Junior can also be considered a direct descendant, so I was also assigned a small courtyard. Lu Han Shu brought Qin Yu to a small courtyard. Qin Yu stepped into the courtyard. And not bad. Han Shu, I will be staying with you for the time being. You don't have any objections, right? Qin Yu smiled faintly. No objections, of course I don't have any objections. Han Shu was overjoyed. Qin Yu, this expert, staying with him would only bring him benefits and no harm. I see that there are some problems with your meridians. Come here, let me take a look. Qin Yu sat on a stone bench and beckoned to Han Shu. Han Shu shook his head and said, Senior, this Junior's meridians are naturally thin and narrow. Without reaching the immortal level, it is impossible for me to open up my meridians in Dantian. In the mortal world, a Dongxi stage expert could definitely help others open up their meridians. It's just that the mortals of the immortal, devil and demon realms, from infancy, were influenced by elemental spiritual energy. Their physique was also different from the mortals. Let me take a look first. Qin Yu extended his hand. Lu Han Shu flew uncontrollably to Qin Yu's side. Qin Yu grabbed Lu Han Shu's arm with one hand. Immediately after, Qin Yu transferred his dark star energy and a trace of life elemental energy into Lu Han Shu's body. The life force came from Lu Xing's tear. The power of the dark star was extremely powerful. Qin Yu had directly ruptured the meridians within Han Shu's body. Such narrow meridians were truly troublesome to expand. It was better to first rupture them, and then use the life elemental energy to regenerate them. Qin Yu had no doubts about the efficacy of the life elemental energy. Han Shu's meridians were torn apart. This kind of pain instantly engulfed Han Shu's body. Han Shu forced himself to endure the pain. Your perseverance is not bad, Qin Yu said with a smile. At this time, he controlled the life force to regenerate Han Shu's meridians. Qin Yu controlled the growth of Han Shu's meridians. In a short time, Qin Yu made Han Shu's meridians several times wider than those of ordinary people in the immortal, devil and demon realms. At the same time, they were also very tough. Even the meridians of a Kongming master might not necessarily be as tough as Lu Han Shu's meridians after being nourished by the vitality of life. Han Shu only felt a cool and comfortable feeling in his body. Okay. Qin Yu nodded and said, Han Shu, I will go in to rest first. You can come in when I ask you to. Qin Yu said, and directly walked into the empty room. Han Shu looked at his meridians. Dumbfounded. Immediately, his face flushed red with excitement. His body trembled, and the muscles on his face twitched. Uncontrollably, tears flowed down his cheeks. Han Shu fell to his knees. Mother, I finally don't have to be looked down upon anymore. I finally don't have to worry about being humiliated on the streets. I can finally straighten my back. Han Shu was so excited that he couldn't control himself. From childhood to adulthood, for more than 20 years, he had always been at the bottom of the social ladder, suffering all kinds of humiliation. But now, Han Shu had undergone the transformation of Qin Yu's life force. His aptitude was definitely a genius among geniuses. Coupled with the middle-grade elemental spirit stones in his hands, he could easily break through to the Jin Dan stage. Times listening to Han Shu's surprised voice outside, that excited and hoarse voice, Qin Yu smiled. This is similar to when I broke through to the Xiantian stage in one fell swoop. Only at that time when I told my father, he didn't let me go with him to the wilderness. Qin Yu smiled. Qin Yu restrained his emotions. He tried to think about his current situation. Han Shu, come in. Qin Yu guessed that Han Shu's mood should be better, so he called him in. After 20 years of repressed emotions, Han Shu really did have a good time to vent. After venting his frustrations, Han Shu felt much better. He used his inner qi to evaporate his tears, tidied up his appearance, and walked into the room. Lu Han Shu thanks Senior for the grace of rebirth. Han Shu knelt down and kowtowed. No need to thank me. To tell you the truth, you can still cultivate. When I was cultivating, I couldn't even cultivate normally. My situation was worse than yours. Looking at you reminds me of the old me, Qin Yu said with a smile. Lu Hanshu was stunned. Worse than him. Senior, this junior beseeches senior to accept me as your disciple, Hanshu suddenly said. Qin Yu's face stiffened. He looked at Hanshu. This Hanshu is a bit scheming. He knows I have a good impression of him, so he wants me to accept him as my disciple. Qin Yu didn't mind and nodded. Very well, I accept you as my disciple. Disciple greets master. Lu Hanshu was overjoyed. With such a master, his future days would be much better. Hanshu, let me ask you something first. If I want to go to the demon realm from here, what should I do? Qin Yu asked directly. Go to the demon realm? Lu Hanshu frowned for a moment and slowly said. This is a bit troublesome. Disciple only knows the general geographical distribution. The Maple Moon star we live in belongs to the Indigo Bay star field's Silver Stream galaxy. Qin Yu listened carefully. His understanding of the immortal, devil and demon realm was indeed inferior to this new disciple. Indigo Bay star field is the border between the immortal and devil realms. As far as I know, the best way to go to the demon realm is to directly enter the hinterland of the immortal realm and then enter the demon realm. Lu Hanshu suddenly frowned. It's just that interstellar travel is the most expensive. Every time you go through a transfer array, you need to spend a lot of elemental spirit stones. At the same time, the ruler of each planet also needs to collect tolls. From here to the demon realm, the amount of elemental spirit stones consumed is a shocking amount. Tolls? Qin Yu was puzzled. Yes, for example, from Maple Moon to the neighboring Blue Mountain star. The transfer array costs 1 low-grade elemental spirit stone. But you have to pay 2 low-grade elemental spirit stones. If you go further, the transfer array costs 3 low-grade elemental spirit stones. You have to pay 6. Hanshu carefully explained. Qin Yu nodded. It seems that this was a way for the ruler of each planet to make money. This is the tolls. Next, there is the map. A detailed interstellar map is very precious. It records the teleportation points of every planet, which teleportation point leads to which teleportation point, which path is the closest, and so on. It also records which planets are dangerous and cannot be entered, and which places in the universe cannot be approached. In short, if you want to travel in the universe, an interstellar map is essential. But let's not talk about the route from here to the demon realm. Even Indigo Bay star field's detailed map. Our Maple Moon star field only has a few. As for the map from here to the demon realm, disciple can't think of where to find one. Oh, the immortal emperor must have one. Hearing Hanshu's last sentence, Qin Yu couldn't help but smile. Qin Yu now understood. To go to the demon realm, first it required an astronomical amount of tolls. Secondly, it required a detailed interstellar map that recorded every transfer point and every dangerous place in the universe. Chapter 316. Travel Expenses Interstellar Map. Qin Yu said slowly in his heart. To go to the demon realm, Qin Yu was not worried about the travel expenses. He still had a lot of elemental spirit stones. Not to mention, if there was no other way, he could sell a few high-grade immortal tools. When he was in Inai Yang's realm, he took a lot of treasures. The most important thing now was the interstellar map. And according to his disciple, interstellar maps were very rare and precious. Ah, master, there is another very important thing. Lu Hanshu suddenly remembered something and exclaimed. Speak. Qin Yu looked at his disciple. Lu Hanshu hurriedly said. Master, I have heard that interstellar maps are not omnipotent. For example, a planet marked on an interstellar map may have a transmission array that leads to a certain place. But maybe by the time master gets there, the transmission array will be destroyed. Qin Yu's heart shook. Yes, the transmission array could not be forever undamaged. If he got an interstellar map from 1,000,000 years ago, it would be useless. It was hard to say if it would be useful. Also, in the interstellar space, if a star becomes a swallowing zone, the surrounding planets may be swallowed or slowly attracted to it. The transmission array of that planet will not be useful. Lu Hanshu carefully thought of all kinds of scenarios for his new master. Qin Yu carefully pondered for a moment, and then thought of many things. Everywhere in the universe was slowly changing. An interstellar map could only give a rough idea of the route, and the detailed situation could only be determined when one arrived at the place. Master, I have heard my father say that interstellar travel is only for experts, at least at the golden immortal level. Lu Hanshu suddenly whispered. Qin Yu smiled. Hanshu, do you think that Master's power is not at the golden immortal level, and you are worried that I will encounter danger during interstellar travel? Lu Hanshu hurriedly said. Master, disciple does not doubt Master. It's just that interstellar merchants have appeared on Maple Moon. Every one of them is at least at the golden immortal level. My father was in charge of serving them once. My father was very proud and happy at that time. He went home and told me many things about interstellar merchants. Interstellar merchants? Qin Yu was surprised. Tell me, what is an interstellar merchant? Qin Yu could make some guesses from the words alone, but he wasn't very clear about the essence of the matter. Qin Yu. Lu Hanshu's eyes were filled with worship as he said, Interstellar merchants, they are all top experts. There were people from the demon realm, the celestial realm, and the devil realm. In short, interstellar merchants came from various realms. They would buy some precious herbs or ores at a low price from one place, and then sell them at a high price in a distant place. The difference between buying and selling is tens, or even hundreds of times. Qin Yu immediately understood. Wasn't this similar to the merchants on the Hidden Dragon continent? It was just that the interstellar merchants had run even further. Because of the dangers in the galaxy and the high cost of travel, it's not a big deal for the interstellar merchants to sell it at such a high price. But interstellar travel is too dangerous. Lu Hanshu solemnly said. Teacher, this small planet of ours doesn't have many experts, but in the core planet of our Silver Stream galaxy, Red Leaf Planet, there are many powerful experts. In the immortal devil and demon realm, only the strong are respected. If you let others know that you have so many treasures, it's very likely that they will kill you to steal your treasures. Qin Yu nodded and laughed in his heart. It seems that the immortal devil and demon realm was similar. Most of the interstellar merchants had many treasures. If they didn't have the strength, they would have been killed and robbed long ago. The immortal realm is a bit better. Everyone wants to save face and won't directly attack. They will only attack from the shadows. I heard that the devil and demon realms are even more chaotic. It's very likely that they will rob you directly, Lu Hanshu said. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. What didn't this disciple understand? Sometimes, attacking from the shadows is more dangerous than robbing in the open. Qin Yu knew that the majority of what this disciple of his had said was from hearsay. But the truth must be discounted. But Qin Yu could also understand many things from his disciple's words. Hanshu, just now on the streets of Lufeng City, I saw many self-cultivators. Many of them didn't have a solid foundation, although your strength is low, but your soul is already at the late stage of yuanying. You should go and cultivate for a while, and directly absorb the energy from the middle grade elemental spirit stone to reach the yuanying stage. Qin Yu said aloud. Yes, disciple will take his leave. Lu Hanshu immediately left the room. Times the self-cultivators of the immortal, devil and demon realms are really lucky. The immortal, devil and demon realms are much higher level than the mortal realms. The self-cultivators here not only improve their strength quickly, but also their soul. Qin Yu praised in his heart. A few years old child reaching the Jin Dan stage was very normal here. But in the mortal realms it was simply unthinkable. Qin Yu threw these messy thoughts out of his mind, and carefully thought about his future path. How much will the travel costs be? I need to find an interstellar merchant and ask. Also, I don't need a map of the entire immortal, devil and demon realms for now. A map of the Indigo Bay star field should be enough. Qin Yu was fully aware of the preciousness of this map. Also strength. When I open the second layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, there will be a lot of Demon King level experts. That way, I will have an easier time. Qin Yu wasn't anxious. Suddenly, Qin Yu thought of something and laughed. Haha, as a master, I didn't even give a greeting gift to my disciple. Only at this moment did Qin Yu remember. that he was too anxious to ask about the matter of going to the demon realm. Qin Yu now had many treasures on him. In Ni Yang's realm, the worst was a high-grade immortal tool. Giving a high-grade immortal tool to a kid who hasn't even reached the yuanying stage? Qin Yu was worried that his disciple would be killed because of his treasures. I will give my best-grade spirit tool to my disciple. Qin Yu flipped his hand and a long sword, Hei Yuan, appeared in his hand. Hei Yuan was a top-grade spirit tool, but its value lay in its myriad of transformations. Whether it was defense, attack, or a variety of weapons, it could be changed. Its value was no less than a low-grade immortal tool. After removing the blood contract, Qin Yu put away Hei Yuan and prepared to give it to Han Shu when he finished his cultivation. Shuo Yan, bring out a person, Qin Yu said indifferently. Shuo Yan in purple and a middle-aged man in black suddenly appeared in the room. She immediately greeted Qin Yu respectfully. Greetings, Master. Master, this is Zhang Yuan, a level 9 demon. His true form is an extremely powerful azure shadow leopard. Whether it is strategy or strength, he is one of the top 10 in the first layer of the Atlas. Shuo Yan respectfully said. Qin Yu nodded. There were more than 200 level 9 demons in the first layer of the Atlas. Moreover, the demon beasts that Ni Yang Immortal Emperor took in were of good quality. At that time, Shuo Yan and the others were of poor quality. They were only comparable to the demon beasts that were sent to the second layer of the Atlas. To be able to rank in the top 10 among so many level 9 demons, their strength was no less than a level 1 golden immortal. Zhang Yuan, Shuo Yan. I only know about the existence of interstellar merchants. Interstellar merchants are generally no less powerful than golden immortals. Their servants can't be that strong, right? Qin Yu smiled. Shuo Yan smiled. Master, you can ask Zhang Yuan about this. His father used to be an interstellar merchant. Oh, Qin Yu was taken aback. Zhang Yuan respectfully said. Master, the reason why interstellar merchants have to be at least golden immortal is not only because of the dangers of the journey, but also because only at this level can they use greater teleportation. When traveling in the interstellar space, if there is a problem with the map and you don't want to turn back, you can only rely on greater teleportation to find a shortcut. Qin Yu finally understood. His disciple had only heard about it from hearsay, but Zhang Yuan obviously had the right to speak. Some interstellar merchants are alone, but of course there are also those with servants. The servants are also divided into bodyguards and attendants. The strength of the bodyguards is generally stronger. Of course, if you want to hire a golden immortal bodyguard, you have to spend a lot of money. The attendants are there to serve, so their strength is naturally weaker. Zhang Yuan carefully explained. Price, how do you calculate money in the immortal, devil and demon realms? Tell me. Qin Yu immediately said. Shuo Yan smiled and said, My lord, this is simple. For immortals, demons, devils and other experts, low-grade elemental spirit stone is the smallest unit. Generally speaking, $100 is 100 low-grade elemental spirit stone. The exchange rate is 1 top-grade elemental spirit stone equals 100 high-grade elemental spirit stone equals 10,000 mid-grade elemental spirit stone equals 1 million low-grade elemental spirit stone. Elemental spirit essence is the most precious. The exchange rate is 1 top-grade elemental spirit stone equals 100 top-grade elemental spirit stone. Of course, this is only a rough estimate, because elemental spirit essence is too rare. Sometimes its value is even higher. Shuo Yan carefully explained. After a careful discussion, Qin Yu learned a lot about the immortal, devil and demon realms. After the discussion, Qin Yu began to meditate and cultivate his soul. Qin Yu was not worried about his cultivation. With the yuanying of 3 level 1 golden immortals, Qin Yu could refine his soul anytime. What Qin Yu needed now was to improve his soul. Times I finally reached the early stage of yuanying. I finally reached it. Lu Hanshu excitedly walked out of his house and headed towards Qin Yu's house. Stop. A cold voice sounded. Lu Hanshu turned his head to look. In the courtyard, there was a man and a woman eating some fruits. These fruits were grown in the first layer of the Atlas. Who are you people and why are you in my house? Lu Hanshu was a little unhappy. These two people were Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan. Master is in the middle of cultivating, don't disturb him. Shuoyan said indifferently. Master is your master, you can rest assured and wait outside. Shuoyan didn't put a nascent soul stage brat in her eyes. After all, in the Atlas, she was the leader of a large group of level 9 demons. Master? Lu Honshu was shocked. How did his master get 2 subordinates all of a sudden? Moreover, it was so fast. At this moment in the house, Qinyu was sitting cross-legged. There was no breath coming from his body, just like a lifeless stone. When his soul reached the essence, Qinyu knew that the soul was divided into 3 layers, heaven, earth, and human. Only when all 3 of these souls were successfully cultivated, could the soul be considered as one. Vast and boundless, misty fog drifted in the endless space. Qinyu's consciousness was in this space. This was the first layer of the soul, the human soul space. Ever since he obtained the refining of 3 souls technique from the tears of Lu Xing, Qinyu knew that the soul could also be cultivated, and that it wasn't something that could be done naturally. A wisp of consciousness instantly took on the form of a human. It was Qinyu. In the first layer of the soul, Qinyu's hands had to continuously form 36 hand seals, according to the refining of 3 souls technique. But for some unknown reason, the more he progressed, the more difficult it became. He couldn't be distracted in the slightest while forming these hand seals. Once he was distracted, he would fail. In addition, Qinyu could sense that these hand seals were very special. Every time he formed one, he would feel much more comfortable. As Qinyu formed the hand seals, streams of azure green energy began to appear from the outside world, within the first layer of the soul space. As time passed, more and more streams of azure green energy were absorbed. Qinyu formed the 36 hand seals over and over again. Qinyu didn't feel any boredom at all. Instead, he felt a sort of tranquility in his soul. His entire soul was constantly transforming at an astonishing speed. If Qinyu could divert some of his attention to observe Lu Xing's tears, he would discover that these streams of azure green energy were flowing out from the tears of Lu Xing and entering the soul space. Within the soul space, one couldn't sense how much time had passed at all. When Qinyu felt that he had made a breakthrough, he immediately stopped and woke up. Phew, now my soul realm should be around level 8 immortal. Qinyu calculated in his mind and realized that he had been cultivating for a full 3 months. If he allowed his soul to passively absorb Lu Xing's tears, he estimated that it would take him 3 years to reach his current level. But with his active cultivation, he succeeded in 3 months. Walking out of the house, Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan were still in the courtyard. When they saw Qinyu come out, they quickly stood up. We pay our respects to Master. Zhang Yuan and Shuo Yin immediately said respectfully. Qinyu nodded. That's right, where is my disciple? That Lu Honshu didn't know how long Master was going to cultivate, so he went out. Shuo Yin immediately replied. Qinyu nodded. He immediately spread out his immortal sense and covered the entire Lufeng city. Lufeng city's population was over 10 million, and there were over 1,000 immortal experts. There were experts from all walks of life, so it was very lively. Qinyu immediately found his disciple. I didn't expect that my first disciple in the immortal, devil and demon realms would be bullied like this. Well, since I want to get the interstellar map, I should be a little stronger. This little amber moon, I'll secretly control it first. With people familiar with the environment, things will be much easier. Qinyu didn't want to drag things out, so he directly carried out his plan. Qinyu's heart moved, and his whole person disappeared from the courtyard. Qinyu was the master of Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan. Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan naturally sensed Qinyu's location and immediately teleported over. The 3 great clans of Amber Moon had always been in a state of balance, but because of Qinyu's arrival, a new change had begun. And the source of this change was a small child of the Lu clan, Lu Honshu. Chapter 317. Lufeng City's streets were crisscrossed. The northern district was filled with Lu family's buildings and palaces. Most of the people here were Lu family members. On a wide street in the northern district, there were hundreds of people watching. TSK how rare. That good-for-nothing Lu Honshu actually reached the early stage of yuanying. A middle-aged man said with a smile. Lu Honshu in my generation, he is the weakest. He can't be compared to nephew Lu Hanming. Hanming is the same age as him, but he has already reached the late Dongshu stage. This Lu Honshu dared to walk in the middle of the street like that. Hanming and the others didn't like this kid and taught him a lesson. Another middle-aged man said with a smile. In the middle of the street, Lu Honshu felt a sweet taste in his throat as blood gushed out. Lu Honshu stared at the young man in white in front of him, his brother Lu Hanming. Lu Honshu, even if you reach the early stage of yuanying, you are still the weakest of our generation. Look besides you, who else in our generation is at the early stage of yuanying? A young man in white said with a smile. This person was Lu Hanming, the number one of the Lu family's Han generation. He was trained as an elite. Lu Hanming was right. Even if he reached the early stage of yuanying, he was still the weakest of his generation. Eldest young master, don't waste time with this good-for-nothing. Master invited a guest elder to teach you personally. Next to Lu Hanming was a scholarly middle-aged man. Behind them were more than a dozen guards. The scholarly middle-aged man was a level 2 immortal, but he wasn't a member of the Lu family. He was invited by Lu Hanming's grandfather to take care of Lu Hanming. Lu Hanming and Lu Honshu were both direct descendants, but the difference in treatment was too great. Lu Hanming was only 25 years old, but he was already at the late Dongshu stage, only one step away from the Kongming stage. Lu Hanming, one day I will surpass you. Lu Honshu stood up and wiped the blood from his mouth. He stared at Lu Hanming and thought to himself. At this moment, Lu Honshu thought of his master Qinyu. Thinking of his master, Honshu was full of confidence. A coward dares to stare at eldest young master? Eldest young master, let's go back. The scholarly middle-aged man said in a clear voice. With a wave of his hand, Honshu, who was blocking the way, was pushed aside. Get lost. The power of a level 2 heavenly immortal was beyond doubt. Suddenly, bang! With Honshu as the epicenter, a terrifying aura spread out. Whether it was the white-robed youth, the scholarly middle-aged man, or even the large group of guards, his entire body was flipped over and fell to the ground. The surrounding onlookers hurriedly retreated to avoid him. When the chi dissipated, the surrounding people discovered that there was a young man dressed in black standing beside Lu Honshu. That fierce and imposing aura made the surrounding people shudder. That was a real master. The black-clothed young man glanced at everyone with a cold gaze. Everyone felt as if they had entered a world of ice and snow, and their hearts were cold. Master. When Honshu saw Qinyu, he couldn't help but be overjoyed. He immediately bowed and shouted. The white-robed youth was slightly startled, but immediately stood up and bowed to Qinyu with a smile. Junior Lu Hanming pays respect to senior. I didn't expect that my brother Honshu would be able to become senior's disciple. Brother Honshu is really lucky. Qinyu's face was still cold and expressionless. Lu Hanming couldn't help but mutter in his heart. When did Lu Honshu get such a master? This person is too cold. Master. Showa Yen and Zhang Yuan also appeared behind Qinyu. They were very respectful. However, Qinyu's eyes are still coldly looking at Lu Hanming and the others. This makes Lu Hanming and the others worried. Among this group of people, the scholarly middle-aged man, with the highest level of power, stands out. Junior Song Fan. Where did senior come from? The scholarly middle-aged man was after all a level 2 heavenly immortal, and had some reputation. Qinyu didn't answer. He didn't give the scholarly middle-aged man any face. Lu Hanming, Song Fan and the others didn't dare to leave. After all, Qinyu's aura had completely enveloped them. They could definitely be killed in an instant. Speak, who was it that injured my disciple earlier? Qinyu said indifferently. Lu Hanming bowed and said, Senior, brother Honshu was walking in the middle of the street, and was injured by one of my guards. Lu Hanming thought highly of himself, and was too lazy to deal with Honshu. Who is it? Qinyu continued. It was me. A guard stood up. This guard was only at the Dongshu stage, and belonged to the lower generation in Lufeng City. The guard said confidently. Lu Honshu's strength is weak, so what if I hurt him? Qin Yu glanced at the guard indifferently. Pung. The guard fell to the ground with his eyes wide open. Disrespect to my master, you deserve to die. Zhang Yuan said coldly. Just now it was Zhang Yuan who attacked. Of course, this Zhang Yuan was under Qin Yu's command. The onlookers, including Lu Hanming and the others, were all shocked. Even the most powerful person on the scene, a level 6 Heaven Immortal senior of the Lu family, didn't see how Zhang Yuan attacked when he fell to the ground. Obviously, Zhang Yuan's strength was far beyond a level 6 immortal. The sound of wind breaking could be heard as dozens of experts arrived in the air. They stood high up in the air and looked down on the ground. They were extremely arrogant. Who dares to behave atrociously in my Lu family? Report dash. The man in the air stopped talking and flew down like lightning. His expression quickly changed into a friendly one. This was a handsome middle-aged man. Great-grandfather. Lu Hanming looked at the middle-aged man and respectfully said. Lu Hanshu also respectfully said, great-grandfather. So this Lu Hanshu and Lu Hanming have the same great-grandfather. This humble one is Lu Yinshan. Greetings, senior. I don't know what happened between my two great-grandsons, Hanming and Hanshu, that angered senior. Lu Yinshan said with a friendly smile. The level 6 heavenly immortal, who had been watching the entire time, also walked out. His appearance was very similar to Lu Yinshan's. He also said to Qin Yu, Senior, I am Lu Yuntan. Senior is Hanshu's master, so naturally we are family. Please forgive Hanming for this matter. The two juniors were merely fighting, due to personal feelings. Lu Yuntan transmitted his voice to Lu Yinshan. Yinshan, you were so arrogant when you were in the air just now. If I didn't transmit my voice and offend this guy, my Lu family would have suffered a great loss. Yuntan, this time I owe you a favor. I didn't expect 3 experts to come here at once. I can't see through their strength. Lu Yinshan transmitted his voice. Lu Yuntan and Lu Yinshan were the upper echelons of the Lu family. They were waiting for Qin Yu to speak. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. He didn't expect that they would be a family now. Hanshu, how do you think we should resolve today's matter? Qin Yu looked at his disciple Hanshu. Hanshu was startled. Lu Yinshan and Lu Yuntan both looked at Hanshu. At the same time, Lu Yinshan quickly said, Hanshu, this is just a small matter between you juniors. Don't trouble your master. Oh right, Hanshu, you and your father haven't been to my place for a long time. In the future, you should visit more often. Hanshu felt a burst of sadness in his heart. Before today, no one looked up to him. As for his great-grandfather's luxurious palace, he had never been there even once. Most likely, he was chased away by the guards at the entrance. Now this high and mighty great-grandfather was treating him so well. Master, let's forget about this matter. It's not a big deal. Hanshu said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu nodded and said, Since Hanshu said so, I will spare these people's lives. Death can be forgiven, but punishment cannot be forgiven. Zhang Yuan, let these people go back and lie down for 3 months. Senior. Lu Yinshan and Lu Yuntan's eyes widened in disbelief. Lu Hanming and the others were also shocked. Yes, master. Zhang Yuan respectfully said. A shadow flashed by. In a breath's time, Zhang Yuan stood behind Qin Yu. A giant demon ranked in the top 10 among the 209th level demons. Against a group of level 2 immortals, the rest were ordinary cultivators. It was as easy as blowing off dust. The group of people vomited blood and fell to the ground. Senior, this is a bit too much. Lu Yinshan was a little angry, his aura was rising. Qin Yu coldly glanced at Lu Yinshan. Lu Yinshan felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over him, completely sobering him up. Qin Yu's disciple, no one can bully him. Qin Yu said indifferently, Hanshu, you come back with me. In this Lu family, you are not a member of the Lu family. Why are you so sentimental? Hanshu's heart suddenly recalled the memories of the past 20 years. Those memories made him shudder. Family? Is that even a family? Those brothers mocked him and bullied him. Such a family was better off not having it. Lu Hanshu threw away the burden in his heart. Yes, master. Lu Hanshu respectfully said to Qin Yu. Although the Lu family was known as one of the 3 great families, They only had one golden immortal expert. The rest were sky immortals. Qin Yu's atlas of 10,000 beasts had more than 209th level demons. Wiping out the Lu family was a piece of cake. Let's go. Qin Yu grabbed Han Shu and disappeared from the street. Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan turned around and sneered at Lu Yinshan and Lu Yintan. They also disappeared into thin air. Lu Yinshan and Lu Yintan looked at each other, their brows furrowed. This remote courtyard was different from the other luxurious courtyards of the Lu family. However, on this day, a group of people gathered outside this remote courtyard belonging to Lu Hanshu. Master is currently teaching young Master Lu Hanshu. He will not receive any guests for 3 hours. 2 burly men stood at the entrance of the courtyard. These two were the level 8 demons Qin Yu summoned from the first layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, Pai Huan and Pai Fan. One must know that the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts had so many level 9 demons, but this time 2 level 8 demons were summoned. This made Pai Huan and Pai Fan want to prove themselves in front of their master Qin Yu. They also want to win face for the hundreds of level 8 demons. Outside the manor, the clan leader, the 3 elders, and a guest elder could only exchange a bitter smile. Behind them was a group of guards from the Lu clan. These guards were all elites, and even the weakest among them was a level 1 heavenly immortal. Yun Shan, you said that the person's 2 subordinates were not these 2? Lu family's patriarch Lu Yinlu asked. Lu Yinshan nodded and said, I am sure. The 2 subordinates were a woman and a lean man. They were not these 2 burly men. Level 8 demons. The only guest elder who came frowned. If I am not wrong, these 2 level 8 demons should be fire lions. Their actual attack power is far beyond that of a level 8 demon. Even this old man can at most fight 1. The gatekeepers are 2 level 8 sky demons. Lu family's patriarch also felt a wave of pressure. That Qin Yu's subordinates should be stronger. Demon. Sigh, when did such a person come? Lu family's patriarch also had a headache. Because most demons are stronger than immortals of the same level. Unless the immortal's cultivation method is special and powerful. Big brother. Qin Yu's 2 subordinates called Qin Yu Master. If it was a normal relationship, they would only call him Lord. But since they called him Master, the meaning is deeper. Lu Yinlu said. Lu family's patriarch nodded. How could he not know this point? Generally, only those super large families that control many planets would specially train experts. And these experts would call someone Master. After a long time, creak. The wooden door swung open. Master says you may enter. One of the 2 level 8 demons said. Also, don't let the guards in. The courtyard is too small to hold them all. Lu family's patriarch laughed. There is one more person who wishes to enter. He is Lu Hanshu's father, Lu Niansu. Let him in. A calm voice came from the courtyard. Lu family's patriarch, 3 elders, a guest elder, and Hanshu's father, Lu Niansu entered. The 6 of them entered the courtyard. Within the courtyard, Lu Hanshu had finally gained full control of the black essence. His body was covered in a handsome battle robe. This was only a part of the black essence, the other part was a flying sword. Qin Yu sat on a stone bench. Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan stood behind him, one on his left and one on his right. Lu Hanshu was also by his side. Patriarch, those 2 subordinates are very strong. I can't see through them, but they are at least level 9 demons. As for that Qin Yu, his strength is around level 8 immortal. The guest elder transmitted. After fusing with Lu Xing's tear, Qin Yu's control over his spiritual sense had reached an astonishing level. The guest elder's immortal sense was immediately detected. Oh, his strength is not bad. Qin Yu laughed. At the same time, his spiritual sense was completely retracted into Lu Xing's tear. Not to mention the level 9 immortal guest elder, even a golden immortal expert would not be able to see through Qin Yu's spiritual sense. The guest elder's face changed greatly. Patriarch, this Qin Yu's strength is unfathomable. The guest elder hurriedly said to Lu family's patriarch. The guest elder could not sense Qin Yu's spiritual sense at all, not even the energy within his body. Lu family's patriarch was also angry. The guest elder said level 8 immortal, then unfathomable. Chapter 318. I am the head of the Liu family, Liu Yin Liu. Greetings to Mr. Qin. I wonder what business Mr. Qin has in this little amber moon. If there is anything, please do not hesitate to ask. Here on Amber Moon, my Liu family still has some power. Qin Yu smiled faintly and pointed to the seat opposite him. Sit. The head of the Liu family immediately sat down. Let's talk about my business later. I have accepted a disciple here on Amber Moon. However, I found out that someone dared to humiliate my disciple. And the person who humiliated my disciple seems to be a brother of the same generation. I hope the head of the Liu family can tell me the reason. Qin Yu said slowly. Behind Qin Yu, Shuo Yin sneered. Little brat of the Liu clan, wise up a little. If you are obedient, Master will help you and your Liu clan prosper. If you are not happy, your Liu clan will decline. Shuo Yin was very clear that Qin Yu only wanted the interstellar map. He didn't care about power or influence. There were many ways to get the interstellar map, and Qin Yu's choice was to ask from these so-called big families. Of course, this was the main event, and it wasn't too late to talk about it later. Humiliate. Where did this come from? The head of the Liu family said with a smile. He pondered for a moment and said, in fact, this was caused by the competition between the younger generation. But I promise from now on, this kind of thing will never happen again. You promise? Qin Yu smiled faintly. I find it hard to believe your promise. Master, the head of the family's words are very useful. Lu Hanshu whispered. Qin Yu couldn't help but laugh. You sinful disciple, I really don't know what to say about you. Lu Hanshu was only 25 years old and hadn't seen much of the world. Today, when he saw the big shots of the Liu family arrive, he felt his whole body was floating. Especially when he heard the head of the family's promise, he was overjoyed. Forget it. Since Han Shu said so, then let's forget about this matter. Qin Yu said with a smile. The head of the Liu family also smiled. I saw that Han Shu's spirit weapon is very amazing. It seems to be able to transform into anything. Such an amazing spiritual weapon was definitely the best among all spiritual weapons. Could it be that Mr. Qin refined it? Qin Yu nodded. He knew that the Liu family head was flattering him, but he naturally had a good impression of this Liu family head. After all, the head of the Liu family was quite sensible and not a reckless person. Family head Liu, didn't you ask me what's the matter? I do have a rather important matter to trouble you, family head Liu. Of course, I can give you a sufficient reward. Qin Yu said. The Liu family head hurriedly said, don't talk about rewards. As long as I can help, I will. No, I won't help you. I will always owe you a favor in my heart. I don't like to owe people favors. Qin Yu shook his head. All right then. Since Mr. Qin doesn't like to owe people favors, the Liu family head's eyes lit up. I do have a small request. I hope Mr. Qin can be the Liu family's guest elder. Guest elder? Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. I'm very busy. The Liu family head hurriedly said. It's just in name, just in name. If there's anything, Mr. Qin, if you happen to be free, please help out a little. We definitely won't bother you. If that's the case. Qin Yu pondered for a moment. The Liu family head, the three elders behind him, and the guest elder all looked at Qin Yu. All right, I agree. Qin Yu nodded. That's great. This is the gift for the Liu family's guest elder. It's the same for every guest elder. Please accept it. With that, a pile of things appeared in front of the Liu family head. Taking a closer look, a token, a sparkling pearl, and 10 high-grade elemental holy stones. This token is the symbol of the Liu family's guest elder. With this token, everyone in the Liu family must greet you. This pearl is a communication spiritual pearl. Although it's not too expensive, it's still a bit difficult to buy. These 10 high-grade elemental holy stones are also for Mr. Qin's cultivation. The Liu family head said with a smile. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. He smiled and said, that's quite generous. Qin Yu didn't care about high-grade elemental holy stones. He had never counted how many high-grade elemental holy stones there were in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. But Qin Yu knew that there were a lot, at least over 1,000. Communication spiritual pearl. This was what Qin Yu coveted the most. Communication talismans have a limited range. Of course, It's enough if you're on the same planet. Even if you're on 2 planets close to each other, you can barely use it. But if you're on 2 planets far away, you can't use it. In the immortal devil and demon realm, you have to communicate frequently. Communication talismans are almost useless. What's useful is the communication spiritual pearl. The range of the communication spiritual pearl can cover 1 to 2 star fields. If one wanted to contact the immortal realm and the demon realm, they would need to go to a fixed transmission array, and then use the transmission spiritual bead to communicate. Because in the array, the communication spiritual pearl can send messages very far away. It can reach most places in the immortal, devil and demon realm. It's just that the communication array is very troublesome to set up. Qinyu is currently missing a communication spiritual pearl. Since Lu family head is so kind, I'll accept. Qinyu accepted all 3 items. Now Mr. Qin, you can tell us what you want. The Lu family's guest elder's business is the Lu family's business. As long as you say it, the Lu family will try our best to help. The Lu family head said immediately. Qinyu smiled. Actually, my sex elders want to go to the demon realm, but they don't have a map of the demon realm. I don't know if Lu family head can help them get a detailed map of the demon realm? Qinyu inquired. Hearing about going to the demon realm, Lu family head frowned. When he saw Qinyu's subordinates, he knew that Qinyu must be related to the demon realm. Since his sex elders want to go to the demon realm, it's not strange. This interstellar map. Lu family head pondered for a moment and said seriously, Mr. Qin, to tell you the truth, interstellar maps are very rare and very precious, because those maps can only be memorized by merchants who are constantly on the move. And every merchant will memorize a path that suits them. It's not very complete. So to form an interstellar map is very difficult. Qinyu of course understood this point. When the mortals of the Qianlong continent explored the wilderness, those maps were also very precious. Compared to the wilderness, the immortal devil and demon realm's boundless interstellar space was much more difficult to explore. My Lu family has a complete map of the Indigo Bay star field. There are a total of 10 galaxies in the Indigo Bay star field. Each galaxy has thousands of inhabited planets. Do you know how much a map of the Indigo Bay star field costs outside? Lu family had asked Qinyu. Qinyu smiled and said, I don't know about this. 1 million and it's still priceless. Lu family had said with certainty. Qinyu understood that the 1 million referred to 1 million low-grade elemental holy ore, which is equivalent to 100 high-grade elemental holy ore. It's indeed a very high price. Oh, priceless? What's going on? Qinyu asked. Lu family head didn't know if Qinyu was deliberately asking this or playing with him. But Lu family head still explained. Do you still need to think about this point? In the interstellar map is the most important. A complete map represents wealth. With a complete map, you can easily move through the interstellar map and earn a lot of money. The Lu family was lucky enough to get this map a few thousand years ago. Of the 3 big families on Amber Moon, only the Yen family has a copy. Even the Wang family doesn't have a complete map of the Indigo Bay system. The leader of the Lu family said with certainty. Qinyu heard the Lu family head talking about the importance of the interstellar map. He naturally understood that the Lu family head wanted him to be more grateful for the map. Lu family head, I'm asking for a map from here to the demon realm. It's more or less a map of the immortal devil and demon realm. Of course, having a map of the Indigo Bay star field is also good. With a map of the Indigo Bay star field, he can easily travel through the Indigo Bay star field without fear of getting lost in the boundless universe. Relying on the map of the Indigo Bay star field, he can go to places with a lot of experts, planets where big powers gather, for example planets where immortal emperors live. It's not impossible to get a map of the immortal, devil and demon realm. Mr. Qin, this interstellar map has always been under the control of the great elder of the Qin family. It would be difficult for me to help you create a copy. Lu family had said in distress. Qinyu says with an indifferent smile. As long as Clan Master Lu helps me, I'll definitely remember this favor. Lu family had pondered for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, Fine. I'll go back and try to persuade the great elder. Patriarch Lu, could it be that your power in the Lu clan is still inferior to that of the Grand Elder? Qin Yu asked. Lu family head laughed. Mr. Qin, you don't know this. My Lu family has dozens of elders and 7 or 8 guests. Dozens of elders all listen to the great elder's orders. The same goes for the guests. Do you think the great elder's power is great? Qin Yu understood. Lu family head, aren't you jealous? Qin Yu continued. Jealous? Why would I be jealous? He is the previous family head, and also my grandfather. Why would I be jealous? Lu family head laughed and said, moreover, my grandfather is the #1 expert of the Lu family. It's only right that he has such power. Qin Yu nodded. Fine, that's all for today. When Lu family head has news of the Indigo Bay star field map, we'll talk again. Fine, then I'll take my leave. The head of the Lu clan stood up and said. Then the head of the Lu clan left with the group of people. Interstellar map, it's really difficult to get. Qin Yu shook his head and smiled. My strength is still a bit weak. My soul realm is not high enough. Wait until I refine a level 1 golden immortal's yuanying. Then I'll be able to open the second layer of the Atlas. Atlas of 10,000 beasts, second layer. There was a large group of demon kings inside. If he released a few hundred of them, Qin Yu would have a much easier time. After all, the only thing that surpassed the golden immortal level was the sword immortal puppet, and the sword immortal puppet required the energy of the highest grade elemental spirit stones. I'm going to cultivate. When the Lu family head arrives, Shuoyan, inform me through your thoughts. Don't disturb me during other times. Qin Yu said and went straight to his room. Yes, master. Shuoyan and Zhang Yuan bowed and complied. Lu Hanshu and his father, Lu Niansu, entered the house and began to talk. Lu Niansu had lived a life of servitude for the past few decades. Whenever he saw someone, he had to bow. Now, relying on his son, he could finally straighten his back. Inside the first layer of the soul realm, in a vast expanse of chaos, Qin Yu sat cross-legged in the void. His hands slowly formed one seal after another. Each seal contained a great power. His entire soul was constantly evolving as he absorbed the energy of Lu Xing's tears. As Qin Yu continued to train, the days continued to move forward. 10 days later. In the courtyard there were 2 people. One was an old man with a green beard, and the other was the Lu family head. Lu family head, please wait a moment, Shuoyan said, and immediately called for Qin Yu through her thoughts. After a moment, the door to Qin Yu's room opened. Qin Yu walked out with a smile. Mr. Qin, let me introduce you. This is the Lu family head elder. Lu family head hurriedly said to Qin Yu. Qin Yu's eyes swept over the Lu family head elder. The Lu family head elder gave Qin Yu an ordinary feeling. Golden immortal. I estimate his strength is not much different from sword immortal Hua Yan. Just from the aura, Qin Yu could tell. I am Lu family head Lu Minghan. Mr. Qin's cultivation is profound. Lu Minghan found that he could not sense Qin Yu's aura. Whether it was the aura of the soul, or the energy within the body, Qin Yu's soul power was completely absorbed into Lu Xing's tears. His own energy was condensed into a small dark red bead called the Dark Star. Lu Minghan could not sense it. Mr. Lu's cultivation is also very high. I wonder if the matter I asked of Lu family head was resolved. Qin Yu asked. Lu family head looked at Lu Minghan. Lu Minghan smiled and said, Mr. Qin, the interstellar map of Indigo Bay star field is very precious. Not only are there teleportation arrays to the most common inhabited planets, but there are also teleportation arrays to some uninhabited planets. There are also teleportation arrays to some special places. At the same time, it also explains some special things about the teleportation arrays on the planets. For example, the teleportation arrays on some planets can only be entered but not exited. Can only be entered but not exited? Qin Yu was surprised. Yes, the teleportation array. You can only enter the planet, but when you exit, you have to rely on your own ability. Lu Minghan explained in detail. In short, there is a lot of complicated information. After all, interstellar travel is not a simple matter. Qin Yu now understood that his understanding of the interstellar map was still too little. No wonder the interstellar map was so valuable. Mr. Qin, this is a copy of the interstellar map of my Lu family. This map was obtained thousands of years ago. According to my estimation, this map was drawn up about 10,000 years ago. 10,000 years ago, the major planets should not have changed much. Lu Minghan handed a jade slip to Qin Yu. Drawn up 10,000 years ago. Qin Yu also knew from Zhang Yuan that an interstellar map, drawn up hundreds of thousands of years ago, was very valuable. Not to mention a map drawn up 10,000 years ago. Qin Yu did not hesitate and directly took the jade slip. He scanned it with his immortal sense and stored it in his blazing profound ring. Mr. Lu family head, for the two of you to give this interstellar map to me, I, Qin Yu, owe you a favor. I don't know if there is anything I can help you with, but as long as it is within my ability, I, Qin Yu, will not refuse. Qin Yu understood in his heart. How could such a huge interstellar map be given to him without a request? Chapter 319. Ming Han and the head of the Lu family looked at each other. After a while, Ming Han gave a slightly embarrassed smile and said, Mr. Qin, let me explain this matter. We do indeed have a request for Mr. Qin, but this request is somewhat excessive. Qin Yu frowned. Too much. If it was too much, why mention it? Qin Yu understood that this was the Lu clan head's way of saying retreat in order to advance. But since he had already accepted the Lu clan head's request, how could he not help? He smiled and said, Lu clan head, please speak. I know my ability. If I can do it, I will. If I can't, then let me say the ugly words first. Of course. The Lu clan head said immediately. Yin Lu, let's get straight to the point. Ming Han said. Yes, Grand Elder. The Lu clan's clan master nods, then says to Qin Yu. This matter is related to the struggle for the right to control the teleportation arrays. This struggle for the right to control the teleportation arrays is held once every 100 years. In another 10 years, there will be a new struggle for the right to control the teleportation arrays. We want Mr. Qin to help us seize control of the teleportation array. Qin Yu frowned and said, Speak clearly. What teleportation array control? The Lu clan head smiled and said, I spoke too hastily. The matter is like this. Every planet has several teleportation arrays. Every year, the amount of elemental spirit stones earned through teleportation arrays is a staggering amount. Therefore, on Amber Moon, every 100 years, the three great clans will compete for control of the teleportation array. Once the competition is won, the teleportation array control will belong to the clan for 100 years. Qin Yu nodded. I understand. But first, I want to ask a question. How much wealth does each of the three great clans have? The Lu clan head was startled. If Lu clan head does not wish to speak, then that is fine. I know this question is a bit rude. Qin Yu smiled. Ming Han held out his hand and said, No, let me answer. From Mr. Qin's question, it seems that in your own clan or sect, you do not care about the distribution of wealth. You have not thought about it carefully, have you? Qin Yu smiled. This is indeed as Mr. Lu said. Qin Yu could only answer in this way. Ming Han nodded and said, Mr. Qin, you have seen how big our clan is. But you can't see that we have to maintain such a huge clan, with so many guards and experts. Just how many spirit essence stones are consumed every year? Speaking of a family's wealth, although our Lu family has been passed down for so many years, our income only slightly exceeds our expenses. For example, this time, they invited Mr. Qin to be a guest elder. A guest elder token, the workmanship, the ores and other materials were worth tens of thousands of yuan. The messaging spiritual pearl was even more precious. Although it was normally worth a few 100,000, the way to purchase it was very secretive. We also spent close to 300,000 renminbi to buy it. There were also 10 high-grade elemental spirit stones, which were also worth 100,000. These three items added up to hundreds of thousands of yuan. Not only that, but we also have to provide guest elders with elemental spirit stones to cultivate every year. Qin Yu understood that the so-called several 100,000 was referring to several 100,000 low-grade spirit essence stones. This is only one guest warrior. Our Lu family has 9 guest warriors. At the same time, we have nearly 1,000 sky immortal experts and tens of thousands of family members. How big is the consumption? Ming Han smiled bitterly. In the immortal devil and demon realms, if you want to earn spirit essence stones, one is to mine ores and spirit herbs. Another is to be an interstellar merchant. And the last is to be in charge of a planet's teleportation array. Among these, the one who earns the most spirit essence stones should be controlling the planet's teleportation array. Qin Yu understood in his heart. If a large clan did not mine ores, engage in commerce, or control the planet's teleportation array, it would not be easy. Not many people would work for free for such a clan, including the guest elders. Moreover, without spirit essence stones, the cultivation speed of the family members would be extremely slow. It would be easy for other powers to surpass them. Maintaining a large clan is indeed difficult. Qin Yu sighed. His Qin clan had absolute military superiority on the Qianlong continent, and was a royal family in the past. Because of this, the Qin clan's influence on the Qianlong continent had reached the extreme. As long as they maintained their normal status, there would be no problems. The Qin clan was so relaxed because the competition was not fierce. However, in the immortal devil and demon realms, there were great clans and great powers. Powerful figures such as Emperor Yu and the Mystic Emperor, who stood at the pinnacle, had to contend with other powerful immortal emperors, and even the experts of the devil and demon realms. Small powers such as the Lu clan, who dominated a planet, also had to contend with the other 2 clans. Mr. Lu, please continue. Qin Yu looked at Ming Han and said. Ming Han nodded. Mr. Qin, you asked me how much the Lu clan's assets are, and I can tell you. Currently, the total amount of spirit essence stones in the Lu clan's treasury is about 100 million. 100 million low-grade spirit essence stones was equivalent to 100 pieces of top-grade spirit essence stones. If there is no income, this 100 million can only sustain the Lu clan for a few hundred years. Do you know how much profit you can make in 100 years if you control the teleportation array? Ming Han asked Qin Yu. I don't know about this. In fact, Qin Yu didn't even know how much spirit essence stones a teleportation array would cost, let alone 100 years of profit. Ming Han's eyes lit up. This teleportation array costs 4 to 10 low-grade spirit essence stones to travel to a nearby planet. The further ones cost about 100. The furthest ones cost about 1,000. Excuse me, Mr. Lu, but how far can this teleportation array travel? Qin Yu asked. Ming Han smiled. How far can the teleportation array travel? The furthest it can travel is no more than 1 galaxy. Qin Yu was stunned. To be honest, he didn't expect the teleportation array to be so expensive. Indigo Bay star field had 10 galaxies. It seemed that the cost to travel across a star field was more than 10,000. And from here to the demon realm, it would cost at least a few 100,000. Every day, there are many people using the teleportation array. The daily profit is tens of thousands, and in a year, it's close to 10 million. In 100 years, it's about 1 billion. Ming Han took a deep breath. As long as we can control a planet, we can live comfortably for thousands of years. 1 billion, enough to sustain the Lu clan for thousands of years. Dare I ask, Mr. Lu, since ancient times, how many times has your clan controlled the teleportation array? Qin Yu probed. Ming Han smiled embarrassedly. My Lu clan has a long history, millions of years of history. However, in these millions of years, we have only controlled the teleportation array once. Once. Qin Yu's eyes widened. Heavens! The Lu clan was one of the 3 great clans. In these millions of years, they had at least tens of thousands of opportunities to seize control of the teleportation array. But in these tens of thousands, they had only controlled it once? Could they still be called one of the 3 great clans? Ming Han and the head of the Lu clan were embarrassed. Ming Han smiled bitterly. Mr. Qin, please don't make fun of us. Speaking of this matter, the only time he was in control was hundreds of thousands of years ago. Over the years, To maintain such a large clan, we had to work hard to do business. As for the mines, after so many years, the valuable ones have long been mined out. All these years, our Lu family has been living in poverty. The head of the Lu clan nodded. Indeed, Mr. Qin, you have seen it for yourself. Your disciple, Lu Hanshu, if it were hundreds of thousands of years ago, every member of the Lu clan, including the younger generation, would have received a piece of low-grade spirit yuan stone a year. But today, even a piece of low-grade spirit yuan stone requires the younger generation to compete for it. Only those who rank high can get it. Speaking of this, the head of the Lu clan was also very bitter. Qin was speechless. Master, they are really pitiful. If they don't have enough money, why do they have to recruit so many people? Shuoyan's voice sounded in Qin Yu's mind. This was a telepathic communication. Only those who had a soul connection could do this. Qin Yu heard Shuoyan's whispers and smiled indifferently. One clan. Was he willing to give up so many people? Both of you, to be honest, I still don't understand. Is there a huge gap between your clan and the other two clans? In these millions of years, you have only won once every 100 years. Qin Yu still wanted to ask. Because Qin Yu's heart was moved. He was moved by the wealth of the other two clans. If the other two clans had won many times, it meant that the other two clans' wealth was very large. At that time, he would directly rob the leader of his wealth. Top-grade spirit yuan stone. Qin Yu needed it the most. Moreover, Amber Moon only had a few golden immortals. Qin Yu didn't put them in his eyes. Is the gap big? No, in terms of strength, our Lu clan is ranked second. As for the third-ranked Wang family, in the last million years, they haven't been able to gain any control over it. Ming Han said. Qin Yu's face stiffened. What you're saying is, the Yen clan, which is ranked first, has always been in their hands for so many years. Their wealth and power far surpass yours? Qin Yu was moved by this Yen clan. For so many years, they had been in control of the teleportation array. How much wealth did they have? If he just grabbed a few hundred top-grade spirit yuan stones, he wouldn't have to be so careful when using his sword immortal puppet. After all, as long as he had enough top-grade spirit yuan stones, his sword immortal puppet would be an immortal. Qin Yu was well aware of the toughness of the sword immortal puppet. He had never seen anything that could break through the defense of the sword immortal puppet. Yes, the teleportation array has been in the hands of the Yen clan all these years. Ming Han nodded. Oh, tell me more about the Yen clan. Qin Yu's eyes lit up. Poor Yen clan, you're in trouble. Behind Qin Yu, Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan both had the same thought. As Qin Yu's servants, they knew about Qin Yu's sword immortal puppet. Naturally, they understood what Qin Yu was planning. Ming Han smiled. Of course, if not for the Yin clan, our Lu clan would have taken control of the teleportation array long ago. The number one expert of the Yin clan, the current Grand Elder, Yin Gao, is a sword immortal. Moreover, he is a level 6 golden sword immortal. Ming Han said solemnly. Mr. Lu, may I ask how strong you are? Qin Yu asked. I am only a level 2 golden immortal. My strength is far from Yin Gao's. Ming Han said embarrassedly. Qin Yu shook his head. A sword immortal's strength was strong, and the opponent was a level 6 golden immortal. It would be strange if Ming Han could take it. However, a level 6 golden sword immortal was still something he could handle. Besides Yen Gao, the Yin clan has another golden immortal. I don't care about that golden immortal. Ming Han said confidently. I'm worried about Yen Gao. If we can take care of him, then there won't be any problems. Qin Yu deliberately frowned. Seeing Qin Yu frown, Ming Han and Ming Han's hearts trembled. You too. You want me to help you seize control of the teleportation array. How do I do that? Qin Yu said indifferently. Ming Han immediately said, there are 2 ways. The first is, in 10 years, in the competition you will win. The competition will be divided into 3 rounds, and whoever wins 2 will be given the opportunity. The other way, Qin Yu said immediately. The other way is to help kill Yin Gao. Ming Han's eyes flashed with a cold light. Regarding this Yin Gao, Ming Han had long hated him to the bone. Qin Yu raised his eyebrows. Kill Yin Gao. He planned to kill Yin Gao, and also to take the top-grade elemental holy stones from the Yin clan. Alas, a sword immortal with the strongest attack power, and a level 6 golden immortal at that. This is very difficult, very difficult. Qin Yu said helplessly. At least I don't have a way. Is there really no way? Ming Han and the Lu clan leader were a little worried. Qin Yu pondered for a moment. Ming Han's eyes lit up, and he quickly said, I remember Mr. Qin said that your sect's elders were going to the demon realm. They should be in the Indigo Bay star field, right? No need to say more, I know what you mean. Qin Yu waved his hand and sighed. My sect's elders are indeed strong. Killing a level 6 golden immortal is not impossible. Ming Han and the Lu clan leader couldn't help but smile. Qin Yu smiled bitterly. But I'm just a junior. How can I order my sect's elders around? For no reason. My sect's elders would kill a level 6 golden immortal sword immortal. It would be strange if my martial uncle didn't scold me to death. This, Ming Han and the Lu clan leader frowned. There is really no way. If there are any conditions, as long as it is within our means, we will help. Ming Han immediately said. His Lu clan only had 100 million in wealth. Even if they used it all up, it wouldn't matter. Compared to controlling the teleportation array, controlling the array was obviously more important. Qin Yu pondered for a moment, and his eyes lit up. Actually, it's not that there is no way. My martial uncle is currently refining a secret treasure, and he needs top-grade elemental holy stones. Only top-grade elemental holy stones are of the purest quality. So, as long as you can provide enough top-grade elemental holy stones, it might be possible to persuade my martial uncle. When the time comes, I can rely on my martial uncle's influence. It should be possible. Qin Yu took a detour and finally revealed his fox tail. Top-grade elemental holy stones? Ming Han and the Lu clan leader felt their breath catch in their throat. The two couldn't help but sigh, as expected of someone from a great power. Refining a secret treasure required a large amount of top-grade elemental holy stones. Chapter 320. While Ming Han and the Lu clan's clan leader were in awe of Qin Yu's power, their hearts were filled with helplessness. Qin Yu asked for top-grade elemental holy stones, and how many pieces? One must know that a piece of top-grade elemental holy stone was equivalent to 1 million. Even if the Lu family went bankrupt, how many top-grade elemental holy stones would they have? Top-grade elemental holy stone. One piece is worth 1 million. Lu Ming Han said helplessly. Mr. Qin, normally our family doesn't have the luxury of using top-grade elemental holy stones. That's why we have a lot of top-grade elemental holy stones, but very few top-grade ones. The Lu family's current assets were about 100 million. Usually, they would consume low and mid-grade elemental holy stones, and occasionally high-grade ones. As for top-grade elemental holy stones, they couldn't afford it. Mr. Lu sighed. Qin Yu sighed. You have helped me a lot by giving me the interstellar map. I will personally give 2 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones to my martial uncle. Now it's up to you. Of course, if it's less than 10 pieces, then don't give it to my martial uncle. Lu Ming Han and Lu family had looked at each other. It wasn't clear if they were communicating through their immortal sense. Behind Qin Yu, Shua Yan and Zhang Yuan's faces were solemn, but in their hearts they were laughing. Qin Yu gave 2 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones to his martial uncle? It's just giving it to his right hand. Grandfather, we should be decisive. As long as that Yin Gao is dead, not only will we be able to get control of the transportation array, but we will also be able to get it. As long as we pledge our allegiance to the Jade Sword School, we will be able to obtain even the next opportunity. The Lu family had persuaded Ming Han with his immortal sense. In such a big decision, it was up to Lu Ming Han to make the final decision. Lu Ming Han was struggling in his heart. Suddenly, Lu Ming Han raised his head and said, Mr. Qin, can you give me an estimate of how many top-grade elemental holy stones are needed to convince your martial uncle? Obviously, Lu Ming Han had made a decision. Qin Yu was satisfied. How many? Qin Yu pondered for a moment. My martial uncle is refining a secret treasure, and he needs a lot of top-grade elemental holy stones. I think 20 or 30 pieces would be enough. Of course, if it's more than 50 pieces, then there's an 80 to 90% chance of success. If it's 100 pieces, my martial uncle will definitely agree. Qin Yu said this number because of the Lu family's assets. Ming Han nodded. All right, Mr. Qin. My family only has a few pieces of top-grade spirit elemental stones. Please allow me to go back and think of a way. I'll trouble you again in a few days. Well said, well said. Now that I have the map of the Indigo Bay star system, how could I not help you? Qin Yu said with a smile. The Lu clan's clan leader and Ming Han left Qin Yu's residence. Times in the meeting room of the Lu family. Greetings, great elder. A fat middle-aged man respectfully saluted Ming Han. Ming Han took a deep breath and said, Yun Fan, my Lu family's business has been managed by you all these years. Right now, I have a very important task for you. Great elder, please give me your orders. Lu Yunfan said respectfully. Lu Yunfan had a very high status in the Lu family. He was not an ordinary elder, but an elder with real power. The entire Lu family's business was controlled by him. Here are a lot of top-grade spirit elemental stones. There are also a lot of middle-grade spirit elemental stones. I want you to quickly exchange them for top-grade spirit elemental stones. Ming Han handed over his interspatial ring to Lu Yunfan. Lu Yunfan was stunned. A family's wealth was usually stored in the interspatial rings of the Great Elder and the Patriarch. Especially the Great Elder's interspatial ring. The wealth inside was at least a third of the family's wealth. There are about 30 million here. Try to exchange as many top-grade spirit elemental stones as you can. Ming Han said. 30 million, according to the ratio, could be exchanged for 30 top-grade spirit elemental stones. Great Elder, this is a large amount of top-grade spirit elemental stones. Those who have so many top-grade spirit elemental stones are usually too lazy to exchange. Those who are weak don't have the top-grade spirit elemental stones. If we look for other forces to exchange, they will increase the ratio to 110. Lu Yunfan quickly said. Why don't we delay the exchange? Although the public ratio is 100, there must be someone to exchange with. If no one is willing to exchange, then you can only suffer a loss. For example, the public price of a messaging spirit pearl was only a few 100,000. But because of the trouble it caused, most forces would not sell it. There were some sects that would sell messaging spirit pearls, but they were far away from here. But now, the price had risen to 300,000. This was the same principle. Hurry up. A little loss is nothing. The most important thing is, you must exchange them for top-grade spirit elemental stones. Great Elder Ming Han said firmly. Since the Great Elder had said so, Lu Yunfan didn't dare to say anything else. He immediately said respectfully, Yunfan will not disappoint the Great Elder. Then he received the huge amount of wealth. Great Elder Ming Han was not worried that Lu Yunfan would run away with the money, because, as the head of the Lu family's finances, he had to make a blood oath to the heavens to ensure his loyalty. Making a blood oath to the heavens was an extremely heavy oath. Once violated, the oath would be immediately broken. Days passed one after another. Lufeng City's eastern side of the city was a tranquil courtyard, the Bamboo Garden. The courtyard was gifted to Qin Yu by the Lu clan. Qin Yu, Lu Hanshu, and Qin Yu all moved into the courtyard. When the Bamboo Garden was gifted, a group of maids and guards were also sent. At the same time, the Lu family gave strict orders that no one was to offend the owner of the Bamboo Garden. This caused countless people of Lufeng City to discuss spiritedly. They were all discussing who the master of the Bamboo Garden was. Inside the Bamboo Garden, the Lu family head and Lu Ming Han were led by a maid through a pavilion corridor into a quiet bamboo forest. Then, they came to a pond in the middle of the bamboo forest. At this moment, Qin Yu was sitting beside the pond quietly fishing. Oh, a fish took the bait. Qin Yu lifts the fishing rod. A big fish about 3 jin in weight, which is alive and kicking, is brought up to the surface. Haha, Mr. Lu family head. I've been fishing for a long time, but I didn't catch a fish. Don't you think it's strange? Qin Yu put the fishing rod to the side, stood up and walked to a stone bench. He smiled and said to Ming Han and Lu Minghan, "It's Mr. Qin's luck that has come." Ming Han laughed. Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan were secretly laughing. A fish took the bait. Weren't there two big fish in front of them? Sit. Qin Yu sat down and called out to the two. At this moment, the maid at the side immediately served tea. The stone table was round, and there were 3 stone benches around it. Qin Yu, Ming Han, and the Lu family head sat on the 3 benches. After taking a sip of tea, Qin Yu casts a glance at the two of them. He then puts down the teacup and says, "It's been 2 months since we last met, right? Since the two of you came this time, I presume you've already prepared the top-grade elemental holy rock?" "It's ready," Ming Han immediately said. Qin Yu nods and says with a sigh, "It's just that the two of you are a bit slow. Recently, this martial uncle of mine has been busy collecting top-grade elemental holy rock. According to what I learned last time, the number of top-grade elemental holy rock my martial uncle has now is not far from the number of top-grade elemental holy rock he needs to forge secret treasures. I don't know if my martial uncle has collected all of them yet, but if he has, then, even if he has, I don't think he can do anything about it." Ming Han and the Lu family head's expression froze. They thought for a moment and understood. Their martial uncle needed top-grade elemental spirit stones to refine a secret treasure. With their martial uncle's strength, the speed at which he collected them should be very fast. You also know that money alone can't move my martial uncle. I know that my martial uncle needs top-grade elemental spirit stones to refine a secret treasure. That's why I told the two of you to collect them. But now, Qin Yu sighed. Now is not the time? Ming Han asked. Don't worry, let me ask my martial uncle. At this time, Qin Yu put on an act and directly took out the communication spirit bead. In fact, Qin Yu didn't send a message, but he still had to put on an act. Silence. The pond was so quiet that only the rustling of the bamboo trees could be heard. Ming Han and the Lu family had held their breaths and waited. They stared at Qin Yu's expression, trying to figure out what was going on between Qin Yu and his martial uncle. After a long time, "Mr. Qin, how is it? What did your martial uncle say?" The Lu family head was the first to speak. Qin Yu let out a sigh of relief. He smiled and said, "Fortunately, my martial uncle has wasted a lot of time collecting the blue ice stones. He didn't have the time to collect the top-grade elemental spirit stones. It seems there is still hope. By the way, how many top-grade elemental spirit stones did you bring?" Qin Yu asked casually. Ming Han gritted his teeth and said, 40 pieces. Qin Yu's heart was happy, but his face didn't show it. Oh, 40 pieces. It seems there is an 80 to 90% chance. My martial uncle is very protective of me. If I go and persuade him, he should agree. Ming Han and the Lu family head felt their hearts ache. 40 top-grade elemental spirit stones. This was close to half of the Lu family's assets. These 40 pieces were urgently exchanged by Lu Yunfan. In addition to the few pieces the Lu family already had, they only had 40 pieces. Both of you, please rest in the bamboo garden for a few hours. At this time, if I'm not wrong, my martial uncle should be resting. It's noon on the planet he's on. Generally, he is in a good mood in the evening. The success rate of discussing matters is the highest, so please wait. Qin Yu said with a smile. Of course. When the two heard that the success rate of discussing matters in the evening was the highest, how could they not agree? These 40 pieces of top-grade elemental spirit stones? Ming Han and Xu Yan were conflicted. They didn't feel at ease giving these 40 pieces of top-grade elemental spirit stones to Qin Yu. They were worried that Qin Yu would cheat them of their treasures and run away. But if they didn't, they were worried that Qin Yu would be angry. Both of you please rest. Haha. I'm not in a hurry to give you these top-grade elemental spirit stones. When my martial uncle comes, you can hand them to him personally. From this, you will know that I am not greedy. Qin Yu said with a smile. Of course, we will not doubt Mr. Qin. Ming Han and Xu Yan hurriedly said. Ming Han and Xu Yan were then persuaded by Qin Yu to rest. As for Qin Yu himself, He was just smiling as he fished. Zhang Yuan and Shuo Yin were chatting and laughing with each other. When it was about time, Qin Yu pretended to take out his communication spirit pearl. Then he said to the maid, "All right, let the Lu family head and Shu Yin come." "Yes, my lord," the maid respectfully replied. In just a moment, Ming Han and Shu Yin appeared. "How was it?" Ming Han was the first to speak. Qin Yu smiled brightly. "Success." Ming Han and the Lu family head looked at each other and couldn't help but laugh. "Haha, from now on, my Lu family is the #1 family in Amber Moon." Ming Han and the Lu family head suppressed their excitement. Ming Han looked at Qin Yu. "Mr. Qin Yu, when will your martial uncle arrive?" Qin Yu was also very happy. Martial uncle is also in the Silver Stream Galaxy. After he finished talking with me, he will directly use the transmission array to rush to Amber Moon. He will be here in half an hour. Half an hour? Ming Han and Shu Yan's smiles became even brighter. If they could kill Yin Gao, then the Yin family would be nothing. Both of you, as I said before, I will personally add 2 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones. These are my 2 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones. When the time comes, you can give them to my martial uncle along with your 40 pieces. Of course, you don't have to tell him that these 2 pieces are from me. Qin Yu smiled and handed over 2 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones. Ming Han and Shu Yin saw Qin Yu hand over 2 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones, and didn't let them tell their martial uncle. They couldn't help but feel incredulous. They didn't expect this Mr. Qin to be so generous. "No, how can this be?" Ming Han hurriedly refused. "Take it. If you don't take it, then you are not giving me face." Qin Yu looked like he was about to explode. Ming Han and Shu Yin had no choice but to accept. But in their hearts, they couldn't help but feel grateful to Qin Yu. Only about an hour had passed. It's about time," Qin Yu calculated in his heart. Then his heart moved. In the air above the bamboo garden, a cold-looking man wearing a long robe appeared, carrying an immortal sword. Qin Yu quickly stood up. "Greetings, martial uncle." Ming Han and Shu Yin raised their heads and saw Sword Immortal Lan Feng. They quickly stood up and respectfully said, "Junior Ming Han, Lu Yin Lu greets Senior." "Martial nephew, 42 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones to kill a level 6 golden immortal Sword Immortal, right?" Sword Immortal Lan Feng said with a cold expression. "Yes, Mr. Lu. Give the top-grade elemental holy stones to martial uncle." Qin Yu hurriedly looked at Ming Han. Ming Han could already feel Sword Immortal Lan Feng's aura. Just the aura alone was far stronger than Yin Gao's. Naturally, he was full of confidence. With a wave of his hand, 42 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones appeared out of thin air. 42 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones, please accept them. Ming Han respectfully said. Sword Immortal Lan Feng waved his sleeve and received the top-grade elemental holy stones. He indifferently said, "Since I have accepted your top-grade elemental holy stones, I will kill the person you spoke of. Tell me his situation." Qin Yu's face showed a trace of joy. With 42 pieces of top-grade elemental holy stones in hand, he could use his immortal sword puppet to his heart's content for a period of time. Moreover, he was about to go to the Yin clan. That Yin clan must have a lot of top-grade elemental holy stones. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.